at this dog 48 hours. At this party 48 hours.
Gasp. The stream is on.
Ah!
Hi, Twitch recording. How are you? Cool, that's awesome. It's been 2 weeks instead of the usual one because we're trying alternating Sundays now because as the world reopens and people get rescheduled, life gets harder to schedule. Um,
Boo.
Boo indeed. Who would have thought that the pandemic made D&D easier? Um, but yeah, so we're actually back for, I looked at the numbers this time, and this is episode 12, so like we're at the end of our core. We're at the end of this core of like Japanese television. So that's always fun.
Finale.
That means that next week we might have a new opening. You'll see. We'll find out. Um, but yeah, so just to very briefly recap where we're at and what we're doing. After meeting up on a train and some hijinks, our party of Penelope and Anise and Kwaku made their way to the Einzbern castle in Germany. Uh, they met a variety of characters along the way, including uh, Gunter, a strangely German cowboy who runs a saloon, uh, Echoviel, an Einzbern homunculus, and the last of them for the moment, because the rest of them and their golem, Jubashite, were beaten all to crap by some kind of super druid monster man. Um, and then you helped Echo take out the giant child of an ash tree that was left in the courtyard. Along the way, Annis encountered some strange flashbacks from 1100 years ago and got a good sense of what the Einzberns are about, both when they were human and now. And Penelope got a flashback to just a few years ago to see what the Einzberns today are about. And they're very similar. Um, and this all kind of came to a head when the group was eating in the last session in the castle after having recovered some of the items necessary for the ritual of making a new golem to run everything. You were making food, you were eating together, and it became pretty clear to the group over the course of this meal that as soon as possible, Echoviel is going to continue the process with the golem that runs the Einzbern family to get another Grail War going. And Kwaku made it pretty clear that the last Grail War, the fifth one, which was a year ago in 2004, in Fuyuki, could have possibly caused permanent damage to the ley lines of the region. Like things that will not be restored with time, and that's very troubling. And that it could lead to, right now, like small things like grass and insects dying, but over time it could just kill the entire area, which is very problematic. Um, and it seemed the main takeaway that uh, the homunculus had from that was that, oh no, what are we going to do if we don't fix that? We can't have the ritual there again, with no real prioritization for the long-term consequences of that on the region, the people, the wildlife, or the planet. It became very clear that the Einzberns and the homunculi have a single goal, and everything is towards that goal, and this is a bit concerning. Uh, this sort of prompted some concern among the three of the other of you. Also, that goal you now understand a little bit better is a ritual called Heaven's Feel, which is using the third true magic to manifest the souls of humanity and by extension all other sentient life, such that they'll no longer need bodies and will be rendered functionally immortal, but obviously limited in their interaction with the world around them, which again, from a very narrow definition as understood by homunculi, makes sense as a goal for saving everything because nothing can die, but this sounds kind of like hell to the rest of you with your grander ambitions for your lives. So that's concerning. Um, Following that meal, the group split off a bit, with Annis and Penelope going to the royal guest wing of the castle, which has electricity and is the only one that does that, which is super appealing to Penelope, who wants to plug in her phone. And you also found some fun things on the way, like you found a conducting baton that makes music happen when you wave it up and down. at least for a little while. And you found something odd near the guest rooms where you found a bit of mistletoe stuck in the window and small amounts of dirt on the ground, which, considering you're in the fourth story of a castle, is weird. But having had a very long day of fighting trees and exploring a castle and all of that, you decided to settle in for the evening, and the two of you each settled into your own respective rooms, and Kwaku went off to rest in one of the other guest rooms in another part of the castle. So I think that covers where we left off. You're level 4 now, which is pretty cool. And also, I updated the picture in the background so that it's clear you're in a castle and not in the woods anymore. Hooray!
Yay!
Yay!
Fun times.
10% less free.
It's true. And I think I covered all of the highlight. Oh, the other noteworthy thing. So when you got to the castle, you did manage to make a phone call out to Penelope's manager, who, over the course of 2 phone calls, you've determined is now waiting for you at the saloon. You've also communicated with Crosby the Necromancer and prevented the Mages Association from swooping in and essentially cleaning house of everyone who could have possibly been exposed to ghost and endangered the secrecy of magic. So that's good. And Crosby is likewise waiting over there for the return of his earrings, which you never actually really needed to use on this adventure, but would have probably been helpful if you'd actually had to fight ghosts. Neat. Now I think we've covered all the highlights. There's obviously more stuff. We'll dig into it as we need to, but there we go. So
Cool.
I will put your map back up for now. That's right.
The mouse pad is fighting me back today.
The mouse pad is ready for war.
There will be blood.
There we go. So that's where we set off last time. Welcome to the modern part. There's still some big tree chunks downstairs, but you're just above that on the 4th floor, so good times.
Ooh.
Okay. So you've had a restful night's sleep, thankfully. No creepy dreams, no visions, none of those cliches are happening. Though when you wake up, you do feel a little bit stronger from your adventures, as you both, as mentioned, are now level 4, which in the world of Dungeons and Dragons means a whole lot. In the world of Anise and Penelope means you just feel a little bit better, and maybe some things that you were thinking about before are clicking into place now. Cool. When you wake up, one thing that you notice that wasn't the case before is that each of your rooms has, let's see if it's visible on the map. They're there, but they're hard to see in this resolution. So I'm just going to tell you. Penelope, in the top right corner of your room, you notice there's a spider web with a little spider on it.
Oh.
Just to the right of the
God.
doorway that you came in with. And Anise, likewise, has a spider web with a spider on it near her own doorway. Those webs were not there when you went to sleep.
Oh, geez.
Oh, wait, like, Anise is a really, like, it takes her a long time to wake up, so Penelope is definitely up. If you want to do anything with that.
Yup. She's gonna, like... She's still, like, in her pajamas, like... Or, well, I guess they're not actually her pajamas, but, you know, whatever.
Technically, you're in Ilya's pajamas.
That's what I meant.
Yeah.
She walks over and is just like, are you fucking kidding me? Alright, Spider. Are you one of Kwaku's buddies?
The spider moves up and down.
Okay. Oh. Ugh. I did not want to see spiders first thing in the morning, but okay. Fine. Ugh. What are you doing? Ugh. I'm gonna go to the kitchen.
Okay.
I'm going to the kitchen. I'm just ignoring the spiders.
As is your right. Okay, so when you step out in the hallway, you see a lot more spider webs all over the halls. You see them most prominently in the corners. They're pretty big. They're not all covered with spiders. Each one just has like the one. But this kind of reminds you of on the train when Kwaku had sort of stretched out to keep an eye on everything.
She's just like very pointedly trying not to look at the spider webs. She's just gonna keep going on to the kitchen.
Well, thankfully, none of them are actually crossing any doorways or anything, so you don't have much trouble doing that.
All right. Whee! Nope. I just ran outside of the castle. It's fine. Don't worry about it.
Phase through it. Okay, so you're going to the same kitchen from before?
Yep.
Okay, I will move you to it then. All right. Drop Penelope in the kitchen. Whoosh. Zoom in on Penelope in the kitchen. Whoosh.
Snap.
There you go. You're in the kitchen.
Not gonna bother with the fridge. But she is gonna see what's in the pantry to make some kind of breakfasty type items.
Okay. Roll investigation and we'll see what you find.
Okay.
Sorry, we get to investigate the pantry for snacks.
Okay, hold on. The maps are eating my screen again. Okay. Investigation. Did that? No, it didn't. Okay.
I don't see it.
There we go.
All right. So, you find a combination of some like more basic, grains, rice, the kind of stuff that you would normally expect, but you actually also find some Lucky Charms and Cinnamon Toast Crunch and a variety of other modern cereals that are all about 1.5 years old.
Gross.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Probably got a good idea based on your pajamas whose those were for.
They were definitely Echoes. I don't know what you're talking about.
But you also find like sufficient stuff for like oatmeal and things like that too, which seems to have been restocked more recently.
Okay, she's gonna get out the stuff to make oatmeal, and she's gonna try and make oatmeal for the group.
All right.
She's gonna attempt breakfast.
Does she have experience making her own food? I assume she does, but
Like I assume she has some experience cooking for herself, because that's,
oatmeal's not very hard, and you've been traveling for most of your life, so it's not like it would make sense if you didn't know how to use a lot of advanced kitchen stuff, but the things that you could just eat on the go, I'm sure she's done 1,000 times, so you don't really need to roll to make oatmeal.
Roll for oatmeal. Oh,
I believe in you.
we're gonna ignore that roll for oatmeal.
You make 3 oatmeal. Good job.
Yay. But yeah, no, she's gonna make some oatmeal and tea, and yeah, it's great.
That's fair.
It's fine.
So what time abouts of the morning would Penelope wake up? Because technically you have the ability to plug in your phone and use it as an alarm now. So if you want to set that at an earlier or later point, you can. Otherwise, I'm just going to kind of assume you wake up with the sun.
Let's say around 8 a.m.
Okay.
And after she finishes cooking, I guess she's gonna go and try to wake up Anise if she hasn't heard from her by the time she's finished cooking.
Is Anise the kind of person who will be awake at 8 a.m. without someone making her?
Nope.
Okay. Well, there you go then.
What about 8:30?
Nope.
Okay, so yeah, she's gonna run back to the room.
Okay. We don't need to move the tokens for this.
Yeah, we're not going for it. Okay, so she ran back to the room, and then she just starts knocking on the door. Good morning!
How hard are you knocking?
Really hard.
Ah.
She knows how this gremlin operates now.
App is eating screen.
Ah.
Okay. Oh.
You can close the maps if you like. They're not as important for right now. I'll reshare them whenever you need them.
Cool.
Or you can drag them down to the little numbers at the bottom and just have something that you can open and close whenever you want.
Oh, yeah. I keep forgetting that's a thing we could do. In theory.
I mostly use them for character sheets and maps because those are the things that take up the most space.
Anise does not wake up.
Anise uses magic missile to close the door.
Are you out? Have you opened the door or?
I'm gonna try the door handle. Is it locked? Did you lock it?
No, I didn't lock it.
Okay, yeah. So she's gonna open the door.
Okay.
Walk over.
When you step into Anice's room, you can see that she also has spiders.
Anise wakes up when you open the door.
Good morning!
Is it really good though?
I made breakfast!
What did you make?
I made oatmeal and I made tea. Mostly because there wasn't much else to make.
This is acceptable.
I mean, there's also some stale-ass cereal if you want that, but I wouldn't eat that. Don't eat the cereal.
Anise does not know what to say about that. The oatmeal will be fine.
Yay!
I believe I have some fruit left over from the garden yesterday.
Ooh, yeah, that'll be a good addition. Also, don't look in the corners if you don't want to see spiders. Because,
Anise looks in the corner.
Oh, damn it.
Anise sees spiders.
Are they Kwaku?
Yep.
Okay
Yep.
then.
I'm trying not to look at them, because that is not what I wanted to see first thing in the morning, but here we are.
I assume it's just to keep an eye on us and make sure nothing bad has happened. Not that he watched us as we sleep. That's creepy.
I mean, I assume he didn't watch us while we're sleeping.
I would hope. All right.
In true anime fashion, somewhere in the castle, Kwaku sneezes because you're talking about him.
Let me put on my clothing and don't suppose there's any coffee.
I don't know, but I can go check.
Okay.
You did see coffee beans while you were digging around in there.
Okay, ignore what I just said. I just remembered there is coffee down there.
Oh, good. I'm going to.
Okay, I will make some coffee. Okay. Hey, spider, in the corner. Tell Kwaku that breakfast is ready. I don't know how spider.
The spider scurries just out of you.
Cool. Alright. I'll see you downstairs in a few. I realize I'm still in my pajamas, but I don't care. Runs back out.
So Anise gets dressed in her normal outfit, not the white outfit from the saloon. She's gonna return that. It's handy to have armored clothing, but she doesn't feel like, for once, she doesn't feel like stealing something.
That's fair.
What if you needed to get back out of the woods?
She's going to fold it up and put it in her bag.
That's fair.
Alright.
But not wear it.
Okay.
I guess back on, well, she can come back up and change clothes and whatever after work. But yeah, so Penelope's gonna run back down to the kitchen and she'll be like, I have no idea where Echo even sleeps, Maybe in the cabin? I don't know, but she also doesn't eat breakfast. It'll be fine. And then she just runs back into the kitchen.
Okay. I'm going to go ahead and drag Anise to the kitchen so that you're all in one place.
Yay.
Assuming that's where Anise is actually going.
Oh, yeah.
Cool.
No, she's going to go look at the corpse of the tree.
Tree corpse.
These are her options. Anise decides that she's tired of Germany and proceeds to walk to France.
Oh, Anise is going to roll, I guess, an investigation check to see if there's, like, honey or syrup of any kind to put in the oatmeal as well as the fruit.
Okay.
I guess that would be investigation.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I mean, it's a very well organized pantry. You can find it.
Okay.
Like, thankfully, it's not the most complicated thing to dig through. The only reason that Penelope found all the old cereal was because they shoved it to the back.
Luckily, honey never goes bad.
Hooray! Yeah. Made coffee. Here's a big pot of coffee.
Excellent.
I've already had a cup. Gonna have 2 more. I'm joking.
Are you, though?
Maybe. I'll let everybody else get coffee. Or tea, whatever.
Anna sits down with a bowl of oatmeal and puts honey in it. Exactly the opposite of what I would do. I hate both of those things.
Escapism!
Drops in some strawberries. That I would.
God, this is decadent. Oh my god. Ugh.
Gets a cup of tea and adds the honey to it. Also gets a separate cup of coffee and just alternates them.
Oh, good morning. Thank you for letting my spider know.
Good morning, Kwaku.
I made coffee, and I made oatmeal, and I made tea, and Anna's found honey, and there's fruit. Yeah.
Excellent. This is a vast improvement over trail rations and hope.
And I mean, breakfast at the saloon wasn't bad.
I mean, we probably could have gone back there for breakfast, but we can eat there for lunch, I guess.
Perhaps.
Oh. I see what you mean. Never mind. That was fully one brain cell.
What was that last part?
I said that was fully me just using one brain cell.
Oh. Yes, after breakfast, I think perhaps it would be a good idea to go upstairs and have a little chat before we truly get on the hunt for that golem core.
I can cast locate object at any moment. But yes, I agree. You have spiders everywhere. Is Echo in the castle right now?
Yes, she's up on the 6th floor. I think she's trying to talk to the big block that is the golem, but I have no idea if she is successful or not. I don't really know how that works. I assume she's getting some form of direction, but I cannot tell, or at least my spiders can't tell how. It might be easier if I went up and looked directly, but that feels a bit intrusive. For the most part, after we ran into those things in the freezer, I just wanted to make sure that if anything is moving around, we find out about it before it gets us.
That's a fair point.
Yeah.
As far as I can tell, most of the things that wandered in have wandered off. I caught a little bit of motion near the bath, but the spiders couldn't really tell what it was. They really don't like going into that humid place.
Maybe Echo wanted to take the bath. No, probably not.
With our luck, it's more of those weird things that we fought in the freezer, only like the mud versions or something. Gross.
It's quite possible that if there are more strange elemental things, they should probably be taken care of, but I'm not exactly going to send Raps into a steam room. Seems like a bad idea.
Fair. Maybe we can get the other golem going there.
Quite possible. It seems to do what it's told to.
Yep. Finished the second cup. Would anybody like any more coffee?
I'm good, thanks.
I think I'm good, but I appreciate the offer.
Third cup of coffee. Let's go.
How do you have such energy in that small little body?
I think it's the coffee that does it.
I mean, you're not wrong.
Admittedly, I've known others of your type. Take that as halflings or bards, up to you. And they all seem to have a lot of energy, so you are completely on brand.
Good, I guess. Hey, so how's breakfast, guys? I tried.
Filling? Adequate?
It's very good. I appreciate it. It has no trace amounts of mysterious chili or anything.
I mean, that's a really low bar.
And yet such an important one that some facilities may not be able to meet in this area.
Anise is being a little nice. In other words, the food doesn't taste that good to her, but she's by saying it's adequate and edible. And
roll for oatmeal.
I did roll for oatmeal.
It's an 18.
I just have bad taste then.
You rolled a d6.
That's true.
It's like, I don't know if like the 6 is the highest level of compassion that Anise is capable of or what, but good times.
I'm glad you like the oatmeal. I'm glad it's adequate, at least. Bare minimum.
Nourishing. Will give me the calories I need to do things. All that I'm aware that we're doing today is finding that core for the golem. I'm not really sure what comes after that.
Anise, it's okay. You don't have to lie.
My plans involved finding the person who needed the potion and giving them the potion. And there were a lot of questions.
Well, I fear that we may have a few more questions. So I guess if everyone is ready, let's go up to either the library or perhaps my room. Wherever you would be more comfortable.
I'm gonna go change clothes really quick. And then
I'd like to go to the library. I'd like to see if the fruits and vegetables I picked yesterday have grown back yet.
Sure.
And then I'll meet you guys up in the library.
Okay.
Change clothes. Grab your stuff.
Zoom. Alright, I'm gonna shortcut you up to the library.
No.
Well, I'm gonna shortcut you to the garden area, because, like, realistically, that's where you're going first.
Just too much energy. Little bug. Gonna go to bed at the end of this night.
Okay, so you were back upstairs where you found the food before, and actually, yeah, they seem to be regrowing pretty quickly. Like, it's not a complete replacement of everything that you took, but it's a lot more than you would have expected for like 12 to 15 hours.
Yeah.
So that's promising.
Take more berries. Strawberries.
You find many.
Yay!
Hooray!
Strawberries for the next. Who knows?
Taking mental notes. Like, she wants to make a garden like this back at London if she ever goes back to London.
Right. Yeah, you can do an Arcana check if you want to get a better sense of how the spell for it works. I mean, it's something you'll be able to learn eventually anyway, but it can be nice to look at it.
Solid 10.
That's all it takes to have a firm idea of what it is and what it does. Like, you already identified it, but seeing it multiple times is just helpful. Like, whenever you get to the point where you'll be able to cast it, it won't be hard. So that's always nice. Cool. All right. Well, in that case, by the time you're done harvesting the strawberries, Penelope is changed. What is Penelope wearing? Since you actually have choices.
Oh God. I think she's just gonna do the same thing Anise did, where she takes the white roby business and puts it in her bag, and then she's gonna wear one of the skirts she stole from the closet, and like a little. I don't know how to describe this top right now, but it is a blue shirt.
Okay.
It's the one that was in the thing that we had. So I really like that shirt. It was a cute shirt.
Cool.
Awesome. Okay. All right. I have unequipped the Einzbern outfit from both of you, so your AC is a little bit lower, but you're legit. And into the library with you. Blam.
Oh.
And blam. Everybody's in the library. Except Echo. She's not here. And I guess Raps, who's doing something. Who knows what.
Taking a Raps nap.
He might be. Just recharging. Okay, so you're in here. Similar to before, when you walked in, you used the library key to get in, which definitely adds some privacy, because you never actually gave that back. So you've still kind of got exclusive access to the library. It's always nice. And you also know that when you step in, any dust or grime or anything on you disappeared instantly, so you're clean. And the sound inside of here seems to just get muffled as it hits the edge, so you're in probably the most private part of the building that you're aware of. Do you leave the door open behind you, or do you close it?
Close it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you have closed the door. You are now free to speak.
Sup, nerds?
I know, right? So yes, I think after yesterday's meal, we may have some concerns that we didn't have before. Is that a fair assessment?
Yes,
yeah,
very much so.
Right. So, based on what you told me before, it sounds like they've been following the same routine for more than 1,000 years. Give or take the addition of this Grail War.
If what I saw from tapping into the ley line is correct, then yes, it's exactly that. Nothing has changed.
Yes, and they've attempted this ritual in Fuyuki 5 times now and destroyed parts of it twice at the very least. This is all concerning.
The ley lines is very, very bad. Very concerning.
Yes, it's... The damage to the ley lines, I've seen it firsthand. It's not good. Like, I don't know if they will recover or not, but generally speaking, we shouldn't be able to do that in a permanent manner. Like, ley lines get redirected, they get corrupted, but in the case of there, it's like the mana was just gone. And
what could have possibly caused that?
I'm not sure, but it worries me. Like, if mana is actually leaving the planet somehow, then nothing is replacing it, which over time it would be like a wound that doesn't heal. Like, it could kill the planet.
Well, they've attempted this ritual 5 times, but only the most recent actually damaged the ley lines.
As far as I can tell, I mean, what we know about the 4th one was just that it ended a fire.
So I guess finding out what went wrong with this latest Grail War would be the key to figuring out what happened with the ley line.
I agree. Normally, I would suggest we just try to stop this by simply not fixing the golem. And it pains me to say it, but preventing the remaining homunculus from doing this again. One of my fears, and I can't really back this up with any real information, but based on the attack that she described, it almost sounded like what happens when the planet feels threatened. Like perhaps the fellow that attacked this place was here on behalf of the planet. Like we've heard stories of it, but I've never seen it, obviously.
So I had assumed that the person that attacked was also the person that left the tree, and that doesn't sound quite like something the planet would do.
That's true. That is a concern as well.
But if they're separate, if it's two separate events that just happen to coincide.
It's possible. It's also possible that this event is something that perhaps was simply enabled by it. We don't really have enough information, but regardless, I think the only way we're going to find out more is to revive the golem. And so my concern, the reason that I wanted to speak to the two of you separately from Echo is that I feel like if we were to perhaps instill some other responsibility sense into the golem, it might approach this differently. Like, it became clear from history that after the first 8 or so hundred years, they changed their approach. They were no longer simply trying to make homunculi, and instead decided to do this Grail War thing. So their minds can be changed on some level, but they're still pursuing their ultimate goal. Perhaps if the golem gains empathy or secondary objectives, it might at least steer it in a direction.
Is that something that you can kind of instill in the golem as you shape it?
I don't think I can do anything so bold as giving it directives, but when you build a golem, you do give it some degree of autonomy just to function. Like, you decide everything from does it ask me every time it wants to take a step, all the way to the greater complexities of life. And I suspect, based on the behavior of this one, that it really only prioritized victory in this war. Because from what you said, Penelope, it sounds like it was willing to throw a small girl to the wolves in a literal sense to make her more effective. And obviously it doesn't care about the lives of all of these homunculi based on the pile of them that we saw on the way in. Perhaps if we actually give it some respect for the homunculi and other people in general, like, we could at least skew it slightly.
Perhaps rather than remaking it into the form of a man, we maybe make it a woman or a child, perhaps. That would be... that could possibly help with the empathy thing. If it looked up to Echo and the other homunculi as older sisters or mothers, or at least caretakers, it could perhaps develop some empathy for them. I don't know much about golems, but
that might work.
Do you have experience with men not being empathetic and children being empathetic?
Anise. like Kwaku was like sort of thinking about this for a second.
Generally speaking, not to knock an entire agenda.
Oh, no, it's a completely fair assessment. Trust me, if you've been around as long as I have, you've seen it. I suspect that someone who has the ultimate goal of winning this Grail War and making a wish to save humanity could still be given enough empathy to, like, perhaps adjust that definition of saving slightly, or at the very least think that it would gain more from not treating everything as a discardable resource. Like, that might actually be one of the things that's easier with a child. Like, for the most part, children generally don't see everything else as an expendable resource. That kind of coldness usually comes from time and experience. At the very least, if perhaps a child that had some exposure to people teaching it better things would shape it better, because from what I can tell, this golem is an old man who presumably started out a little younger at some point and only had subservient homunculi, or specifically this Justice homunculus telling it what to do, so perhaps it never really learned better. This is kind of psychology, and it's not really my forte. Welcome to nature and nurture in the Magecraft world. What do you think, Penelope?
Oh God, I'm choking. I agree with Anise. Like, I guess, like, that's probably gonna be the easiest way to do this, to make it a kid.
Okay, then in that case, I think what I'll try to do is, if I'm building a smaller body, it will probably speed the process a bit, and the rationale, if Echo asks, will simply be that creating it younger will give it more time, which, based on their priorities, should be sufficient, given they seem to need eternity.
Will also be faster to just make it smaller, and rather than it be a small old man.
That's true.
Make it a child.
That is definitely true. And also, I feel like in the building process, I could get it to see the homunculi, based on Justice at the very least, like oldest siblings. So long as at least one of the homunculi is willing to push back on it, it might suffice. We might be relying a bit on Echo here, but honestly, she doesn't seem to really like the old man, so that might work out.
But she also seems to just want to start the Grail War and make the wish. So I don't know that she'd push back against the golem.
Alright, we send the golem to boarding. That's a joke. It's a really bad joke.
Does beg the question, does the golem have to stay here?
I believe the purpose of the golem is to run the castle.
That's true.
I don't know how closely it needs to be here to do that. I also don't really know what running the castle actually entails. As far as I can tell, it's a bunch of rocks. But there are some spells in place, at the very least.
I was just thinking that from my experience, when people travel and meet other people that aren't like them, they gain empathy, and their worldview broadens, and they tend to generally be better people.
Yeah.
Rather than
That's
just
true.
being closed-minded sort that live and die in one place.
Yeah.
Perhaps if I can get it built, then obviously, like, I don't believe any of the three of us are planning on living here, so
oh God,
we'll be venturing away at some point. Perhaps it could spend some time with us after giving whatever orders it needs to get this place running. That may instill some sense of empathy in it. I think that's as good a plan as any.
I guess it mainly does depend on what all the golem actually has to do, and what the purpose of the castle even is, other than making. I mean, I guess the purpose is making more homunculi until they can get another D's or win a Grail War.
They do seem to be pretty focused on that.
Maybe
although
they could not to make any more homunculi.
Well, that'd depend. I'm gonna roll a d20. Okay.
It's up to you to decide what that means.
That would be like, from my understanding, anyway, my limited understanding of golems and homunculi and the Einzberns in general, that would be like telling us not to breathe.
Oh, really good.
Their purpose is to create homunculi so they can get another Justice, or their purpose is finding the third magic, right? That seems pretty likely.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know much about the...
So,
it's more the Einzberns built the golem and gave it that purpose, and now they're all dead. But and the homunculi all continue on in that one purpose that they've had as the purpose for thousands of years now.
Did you get the impression from the way that she was speaking that Echoviel regrets that she couldn't do more and that she's apparently going to be replaced in her interactions with the outside world now that she's older?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
It was kind of sad.
And all that can be done is just prevent her from aging further. We can't reverse it, as far as I know.
There are not many known ways to do that, but perhaps there are other methods through Magecraft that could at least help her capture her youthful appearance. For at least enough time that she could still visit the saloon or do whatever it is she needs to do. I mean, I don't know if they were romantic or friends or what, but I think keeping her connected to something other than this is the best chance we're going to have of getting through to them.
Well, I mean, I could brew another one of the potions, but like I said, it only really keeps her from aging further. And I don't know if I have the materials. I mean, there's a lot of things in this castle. I suppose I could probably find the materials to brew the potion.
I suppose if we had the ability to move her into another blank homunculus, we would already have the third magic, huh?
Yeah.
Probably.
Well, perhaps the simplest solution then would just be to help her with an illusion or an alter self spell so that she could at least maintain some social contact.
Medicine. Nope, that went ever.
What happened?
Try that again. Medicine check.
Ooh.
Okay. What are you trying to medicine?
From that natural 16 plus 4 that I could do anything as far as brewing a potion, not to de-age her, but to, I don't know, like fortify her at her age, and then we could do an illusion spell or something.
So from the potions that you worked with before, you noticed that obviously they were slowing down her aging, which is, good. But also each time that you did this, it was when you were sent some of the materials from presumably here, because they weren't all plants you could grow yourself. Now that you're here and you've got more direct and fresh access to those things, you could try it. You could try something to just stop her aging, and that would maybe make it easier for her to get by with something else. Mages have definitely known for finding ways to extend their lifespan and for, building off of the idea that they're younger than they are. Like, that's tale as old as time for Magecraft.
That's true. And maybe because she's a homunculus and clearly doesn't have the same biological makeup inside, maybe there is a way to reverse her aging. I don't know.
Well, one thing that you do know is that Justice was 900 years old.
That's true.
So homunculi are capable of it. Because as far as you could tell from things, you might have to go upstairs and take a look and see what Justice looked like at the end, since there's apparently a picture of her that was made relatively recently in history. But if she didn't age, then this might be something you actually can affect way easier than you could on a human. In which case, it would then just be a matter of isolating what makes it work and brewing a potion, and then, once at some interval, she gets one and she continues to not age. You seem to have already kept her alive well past her planned expiration date.
All right, so
unlike the cereal in the pantry,
I have better access to fresher materials here. I think I could attempt a potion to at least halt her aging, maybe even reverse it. She is not a human, or she doesn't have the same biological makeup, so it's possible that a homunculus could be de-aged.
Yeah,
perhaps. So certainly something I'm willing to give a shot at.
Sure. Also, roll an Arcana check for Anise.
That's 7.
It's a 7. Okay. So you're having trouble remembering the details of it, but just as a druid, especially a druid who knows the ability to wild shape, you also know that there are some druid practices that seem to help out greatly with longevity. You don't know exactly what they are, but presumably if you can shapeshift, you can do something about being older or younger. And you can also sort of piece off of that as a ranger, it seems like Echo is capable of learning nature magic. So perhaps if you just bought her enough time to become partially a druid and she were interested in that, that could also be a more long-term solution if that's something she's willing to commit to.
And I'll relay that to the group as well.
Huh.
Normally, I would be a little hesitant to contact my tribe for something, but I have a feeling they're going to want to be involved in some way with business in this Fuyuki place with the ley lines. So I could always be, so this is Echo. She wants to be a druid. She wants to not age. I mean, don't we all, though?
Yeah, it occurs to you that you don't actually know how old the druids who taught you magecraft were.
I can think of quite a few elders in my tribe and some youngsters that would be very interested in a homunculus specimen such as Echo. Or on this whole castle business with this vampire tree.
That makes sense. So, cool. So then, having established that, Kwaku's then going to be like, okay, so one other thing that I wanted to cover while we're in here. So, you know how you reinforced the Saba statue to prevent essentially mana from flowing in or out, and effectively locked off the whole area to interference, right?
I do recall that.
Yes. In theory, that should have made it next to impossible for anything weird or not on the up and up to occur. But, well, when I woke up this morning, I found something in my room that wasn't there before. And I think you might find it interesting too. Specifically in my room as well, where I was sleeping. And so he pulls out an envelope. And this envelope, it's very formal looking. It's fancy. And there's a wax seal on it. And it has a Roman numeral on it of a 7. Yeah, I don't know how this got in. But
maybe the bird brought it.
It's possible. Maybe the bird found some paper, wrote a letter, found a wax candle, sealed it.
I wasn't implying the bird wrote it.
I know. I was just. Aww. I'm in a joking mood now that the coffee has truly infused me with its caffeine.
Yay!
Can't you tell my joking face? And in real life, I'm making like a complete blank face.
You know, I can see the corners of your mouth turned up just slightly. And Penelope's like doing like the thing where you like put your fingers on the corners of your mouth to like make a smiley face.
Yeah.
Just like making that face, and Anna's like, I can see you smiling.
Completely blank.
It's there. I can see it.
Cat is licking my leg. Jelly. Oh.
But
it's being that it's still sealed. I suppose you haven't opened it and found out what's in it.
Yeah, who's your secret admirer, Kwaku?
I don't know, but I thought it was probably best to have others around when I open it, just in case. I did attempt to check it for suspicious behavior, and I got the sense that there's something magical about it, but not sure what. So.
Prepared. I locate object. I have guidance.
Oh, hold on. I have. And Penelope pulls out the wand she found in the one room. It detects magic.
Ah, well,
I could do this.
That's true. I mean, Kwaku already deduced that it is magical.
Puts it back in
Does
her
the
bag.
wand tell you anything about the magic? Like which school of magic, or?
Oh, please. I'm reading. If you sense magic in this way, you can use your action to see a faint power around any creature. There's magic, and you learn its school of magic, if any. So yeah, it can tell. It can tell us like what type of magic it is.
Yes, because there could. It's like if it's perhaps necrotic, that would be bad.
Oh yeah.
But if it's perhaps more divine magic, that could be good. So,
yeah. So yeah,
excellent idea.
All right, so I guess just hand me the letter, and this will take me about like 10 minutes, maybe. But yeah.
Is the wand instantly casted, or do you have?
It's a concentration.
It lasts up to 10 minutes, so you could cast it and just walk around pointing it at things like a dowsing rod.
No, this is this thing. That is that thing.
Yeah.
Ignore what I just said.
Who are you?
Oh. Okay, so she's gonna pull out the wand and detect magic on the piece of paper.
Yep, and it is actually on your spell list. Yep, you got it. Cool.
Yeah, did it. Click the button.
Boom. Okay, yeah, pointing it at the piece of paper. It apparently has some illusion magic.
Ooh. Interesting.
But on the plus side, not necrotic, not evocation, so it's probably not going to blow up.
It should be safe. It's just illusion magic. So.
Is it perhaps making it look different, or is it on? Well,
I suppose I could have Raps open it.
Probably.
Let's do that. That seems safer.
Just in case it poisons.
What?
Okay, so Kwaku runs outside of the library for a second, whispers something to some spiders, and then a few minutes later, boom, 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 boom. Raps comes up and walks in the library and is immediately cleaned.
Woo! He's been cleansed.
This is the cleanest you've ever seen Raps, because Raps didn't come in the library before.
Oh, true.
Here you go, buddy. And then he goes to the back corner anyway.
Oh, I have produced flame. I could perhaps melt the wax seal.
I don't think the library would appreciate that.
Oh, yes, probably.
You're going to get a fine in the libraries work great. You burn it down, they fine you.
That's... no. Not quite.
Okay, so Raps is going to open this envelope. And when Raps opens the envelope, nothing explodes. No gases pop out. None of that. Thankfully. What happens is Raps reaches in and pulls out a piece of paper, which is a fancy piece of paper. Really fancy. And as soon as he pulls it out, kind of like a hologrammy effect happens, where like some text appears above it that all of you can see.
Oh.
So.
Oh, it's gonna be hologram. It's gonna be a hologram.
Yeah.
Illusions are fun. All right. Boom.
Jesus.
I'm not gonna make you read that. Just letting you know it's there.
It's so fancy.
Unless you want to read it, the text is also available. In fact, I'll give you the text as well, just so you have your choice. Let's identify it, because apparently it's stupid. Boom. And identify. There you go. That's the text if you want it in a slightly more legible fashion. Does anyone want to read it, or do you want me to read it?
I'll read it. Yeah. It says, greetings and salutations. After 7 generations of good-spirited acquisitions, I must woefully inform you that our family's enterprise of friendly larceny, opposed to unfriendly larceny, is coming to an end. In celebration of our many accomplishments, I jovially invite you, as one of the good sports who made our exploits possible, to join me for one final night of reflection. At the ringing of midnight signaling the most splendid start of Friday, April 1st, the Paris estate of the Is it Arsène Lupin?
Arsène.
I played Persona 5. I still don't remember how it was pronounced. The Arsène Lupin family will open its doors to every mage and phantasmal who so generously contributed to our legacy. This invitation will permit the opportunity to observe our finest accomplishments and claim, or perhaps reclaim, treasures from our collection. Each invitation permits the holder +1 guest and will guide you to my lovely home only during the hour before festivities begin. I assure you, you will want to be there, as the spoils of our legacy far outweigh even the coffers of kings. This is the final act of the final Arsène Lupin, and my ancestors would accept no less than the ultimate prize. So don't be late for this most strange ending to a century-spanning voyage.
Yeah.
Arsène Lupin 7. I do that. Huh.
Indeed.
So that's certainly interesting.
Okay, but what did you do?
I never worked with him.
Did he steal something from you? From your family?
I think it's possible. Do you recall before when I was telling you that my ancestors left Japan?
Right.
Well, when my grandmother left Japan, it was shortly after the birth of my mother. And unfortunately, as I'm sure that both of you understand, half-breeds of phantasmal species in humans sometimes exhibit traits that make it harder for them to pass until they reach a point of knowing how to do that. And when my mother was born, she had a few traits that were atypical, as you would expect for someone who was technically half spider yokai, which became known. So they had to flee. They had to leave in the night. And when this happened, they had to leave many things behind, including the final gift from my grandfather for my mother for when she was older. He made a very exquisite wedding kimono for her for when she was older and could grow into it. But given they had to leave in the midst of the night, they could not bring everything with them. And this was all before my time, obviously, but I heard later that a kimono matching its description was unearthed following following the Second World War, when a lot of treasures in Japan mysteriously disappeared or were found, and it was placed in a museum, which was then robbed by someone before I could get to it and inspect it. So my assumption is that apparently the mage lineage of Arsène Lupin have my mother's wedding kimono, which I just assumed was lost. So it would appear in a few weeks there's an opportunity to recover it, which, now that I'm aware that it could be out there, is very appealing.
Yeah.
Not to mention, from the wording of that letter, it would appear several other treasures acquired by that estate over the past 7 generations could be available. That complicates things slightly for me, because obviously if I'm going to build this golem before they go somewhere else for that, I don't know that I'll be able to just go to Paris and deal with that. So I suppose I'll need to find a proxy. Would either of you like to go to Paris?
I mean, I'd like to go to Paris.
Does sound interesting. I didn't really have any plans, but after I handed over the potion,
I'll probably need to clear it with my manager, because he might have my head on a silver platter. I just kind of went poof again.
so you could play a concert.
Ooh. Ooh.
There are worse venues.
And maybe they need someone to play for the party.
Based on my understanding of the Lupin estate, I suspect they would absolutely want someone to play for the party. They're very extravagant people. I've only encountered them on a few occasions, and typically it was when they were in the process of robbing other mages, which I found hilarious. I may not have taken it so well if I'd realized they had also robbed me, but I suppose that is the way of that family. It's a little concerning that the 7th generation is apparently ending it, though. That's a lot of generations of a mage family just to stop.
It's interesting.
Maybe they're bored.
It could also perhaps be a trap.
Well, there's definitely a possibility that this is just an opportunity to get people to wander into a place in Paris and then rob them, but I suppose that is the nature of that game as well. I'm really concerned about how this letter got here, though. That shouldn't have been possible. I didn't even realize I was the one who was robbed from. So some process was going on that apparently found the owner of an item in their collection, or I guess the heir to it, and then got a letter to me through like 6 bounded fields. I suppose the Lupin lives up to its reputation.
Make a joke about the USPS, but we're not in the United States.
No, you're in DHL territory.
DHL will deliver anything.
Well, DHL is the German postal office.
Anyway.
But yes, like if you would like to take this, knowing the Lupin family, I suspect there's a little more involved than simply showing up and collecting. But I would not be remiss to get my mother's kimono back. And should there be other things there, I'm sure you could find something that may prove useful. Like, at the very least, realistically, if this Einzbern family is going to continue to do Grail Wars, it's possible that were them to hear about this, they would consider an opportunity to collect relics. which is why I wanted to talk about it in here, not out there, because
it's also very possible that Einzbern property has been stolen by the Lupin family.
That's fair. I suppose we should see if they received a letter as well. But regardless, that's in a few weeks, so there's a little bit of time.
That's true.
So I guess in the meantime, are we in agreement that we're going to fix this golem and modify it somewhat?
Best can.
Yeah.
Then I suppose we should go find that golem core. Okay, Raps, you can put that letter away now. Raps is very desperately trying to fold paper, which is apparently much harder. I'm going to make Raps do a check.
No.
All right, buddy, you can do it. Oh, you can do it. Look at you. Where's the button that lets people see that?
What did he roll?
Oh, there's got to be a way for me to show this, right? There has to be. Come on, right-click menu, help me out. All right, whatever. I'm just going to say it. Yeah, it's a nat 20 on a dexterity check with no modifiers. I just wanted other people to see it. So yeah, Raph's natural 20s, the dexterity check to fold paper. So against all expectations, this golem manages to perfectly fold this exactly to the way it was before, put it back in its envelope, and run a finger along the envelope to reseal it, and then presses the wax back into place without actually distorting it. Well done, big guy. Raps doesn't have a face, but you get the impression that it's proud of itself. It then hands the envelope back to Kwaku. Well done. That was unexpected, but pleasant. I suppose we should leave this room for you to find that core, huh?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, lead on.
Step out of the room. Okay, what?
I think you have to click on your...
No, I'm not trying to do that. I'm just trying to go to the Actions tab.
Your action tab is very long. Penelope's in the grotto.
Locating object. Describe or name an object that is familiar to you.
I mean, you have the blueprints.
That's true, we have the blueprints. Sense the direction to the object's location as long as that object is within 1,000 feet of you. If it's in motion, you know the direction of its movement. Spell can locate a specific object known to you as long as you've seen it up close within 30 feet, at least once. Alternatively, you can locate the nearest object of a particular kind. So,
Okay.
Saying golem orb is
golem core, yeah.
If it doesn't find that one, it can find the next closest one. Oh, I guess that would be inside the one golem.
Be like Einzbern golem core?
Yeah. Like that specific.
Whatever his name was.
Yeah, I mean, since I've seen the blueprints for it, I don't know. I'm leaving that up to you, the DM.
Yeah, you can name that one. Like, Kwaku has commented while looking at it that it's very different from how Raps is built, so you don't have to worry about it just pointing you at Raps.
If any thickness of lead is between me and it, the spell can't locate.
Right. That's some weird superband logic.
Yeah.
That is strictly one of those things that's there for DMs as an excuse to not make the mystery impossible until the players are like, I look for lead, and then they find it. Because D&D's fun like that. But yeah, you can totally cast that. So that's what you did?
Yep.
Okay, are you doing it inside of the library, or are you stepping out in a direction?
Oh no, yeah, we definitely stepped out of... I feel like I stepped out of the library and maybe even stepped out of like the garden area and into just the castle.
Okay. You are free to move your character where you are, so I can give you a direction.
There we go.
All right, so you are in the living room.
I guess I'd be probably right. Yeah.
Okay. So when you do that, the way that the spell works is different for each mage, but for you, what you can kind of feel is a soft spring breeze that it's sort of pushing your hair and like the backs of your ears in a certain direction. It feels comforting. It doesn't feel bad. It's a little weird because you're inside and there really shouldn't be a breeze, but it's giving you a sense of a direction, and it's pushing you. Map-wise, it's pointing you actually to the east and a little bit up, not down.
So I guess I will find the air up.
So like there is a window in front of you.
That's true. I guess I'll go to the window and see.
Okay. Yeah, looking out the window, what you can see is that to the east and up, there actually is a tower sticking out of another part of the castle. You saw a bit of that tower before when you first arrived. It was a square in shape. It was to the right of the courtyard, and it was just out of the reach of the tree, oddly enough. None of its branches seemed to reach that part of the castle. But it actually goes up to the same height that the part of the castle that you're in now did. Let me share that map. So we're pretty close to it. There you go. So if pointers. So for reference, you right now are draw pointers. Oh, you're locked. That's why. That makes way more sense. Why are you read only? You're a picture that I put in. Fantasy Grounds, what are you doing? Oh, it's because I'm stupid. Sorry. Yeah, the reason that's not working is because I have two Fantasy Grounds open, one for stream and one for me. And the stream one doesn't have rights to anything. So, yeah, here we go. You are currently located about here, in the middle of that. And the direction that it's giving you is off in about that direction.
Okay.
And just for reference, like you can see like the small tree on the thing down there. Well, that was knocked off by the much, much bigger tree. So that should give you an idea of about where things are in relation to each other. And under the arrow is that area that you went through before that you got the library key from. So this is actually a tower you've not been in yet.
So I'll relay that to the group. I believe Core is at the top of that tower ahead there.
Oh. Field trip.
Indeed.
Okay, so in that case, I'm going to fast forward you all down to the third floor because that's where you would get to it.
Whee!
Whoosh. Na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na. No, not calendar. Characters. Boop. And Kwaku and Raps are coming with you because unexplored castle places
might be dangerous.
I'm never going to understand why it hides Raps every time I put Raps on a map. It's like you can never know the secret of Raps. Alright. Bah. Alright, let's reveal some stuff, because you never went to this part before. Ba-bam! There you go.
Ah! Neato!
Yep, so up ahead of you is a castle room thing. It's got some spiral stairs that go down, and straight stairs that go up.
Kim had to step out for a second.
Okay. Well, then we can admire the red tree. Which...
It's a red tree.
So now that it's been a day, you can definitely see that the red tree is receding and shriveling pretty much. Like, most of the evidence of it will probably be gone, other than, like, the damage it caused pretty soon.
Yeah.
Like, thankfully, Raps kicking away at it yesterday broke enough pieces of it off that it can be harvested for some use, but even the mass of the tree, which was super big, is much less now. So at least you don't have to get rid of a massive tree.
True.
That would have been inconvenient.
Oh, hey, there's Echo.
Oh, where's Echo? Are you looking around the map?
It's like... There's, like, the courtyard where the tree is, and then there's, like, that hallway that led to where the,
Oh, right, yeah.
Just chilling.
Yeah, she's still there from yesterday when she was showing you the room up. Let me move her off the map. She's not here anymore.
I don't know. She could be in there playing the piano.
It's true. You don't really know her hobbies.
Smash cut to Echo over in the corner, just like, you don't know my life.
Cuts to Echo playing PSP.
Echo's like, can I interest you in this fascinating game called Dungeons and Dragons?
Ah.
You see Echo with 4 newly born homunculi just sitting around a table.
If we get 7 more homunculi, we can have our own basketball team.
I brought you all here because I needed a play group, and I created each of you to be really into Dungeons and Dragons. You will always be the bard. Points at 2 of them.
Oh no. Okay. She's back.
Yay.
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, what I was mentioning before was that the big red tree is no longer blocking the pathway here. It has shriveled up greatly, and while there are definitely some piles of lumber outside that Raps managed to break off of it before the shriveling really kicked in, most of the stuff actually connected to the body of the tree itself is much, much smaller, much, much more brittle looking. It looks about as fragile as the trees that you saw outside were before. Like, maybe the planet just took back all the mana that was taken from it rapidly, and the only parts of the necrotic wood that still exist are the parts that were broken off of it. So, it'll probably be entirely gone shortly. Or mostly gone. It might just be a husk that falls apart when you touch it. So, you know, high fives all around on that.
We blew up a tree with some grenades.
Like a true druid. But okay, yeah, so you made your way through. Ahead of you is the tower mentioned. Like, you just walked down the hallway past the area where you had the funky floored room. In the area that presumably Kiritsugu was using to train Irisfeel and whoever else. And now you're over at the square tower. There are 2 paths in front of you. The spirally one goes downstairs to that area that you saw when you were first investigating the gatehouse. And the stairs on the right seem to go up.
Yep, I guess we'll go up.
Okay.
That's where my locate object is pointing.
Yep. Right now it is pointing pretty directly above you. And similar to the other side, I'm going to not jump between a million maps anymore.
Hey.
So you can just drag yourselves on up there.
Whee! Ooh.
Okay, so as you move up to this area, so as you make your way through the tower, this one is actually pretty sparse. It doesn't seem to be much in use now. You can look out the windows and you can see a bit. To the north in this room, there's like one closed off thing. This is actually a cell. It looks like might have been like a dungeon cell or something. It's barred up. In almost cliche fashion, you can see a big over-the-top lock stuck in it and big old rusty keys opposite hanging on the other wall. No one is in here. There's no skeletons or anything like that. It's just not in use.
Oh.
So
let's go.
All right, more up?
Yep.
More up. Boop.
More up. Oh.
Okay, so when you go up this time, you come out in the middle of... so there's the square tower around it, and then there's this extra layer in the middle that becomes a circle with some stairs that go up to the tippy top. And you're still feeling up, although you have looked over in this direction once before now that you're thinking about it. And sure enough, when you get to the roof, what you find is...
Bird.
The bird sitting on a nest.
Oh, good friend.
And this is a very strange nest. It is oblong. There's a bunch of bits. Like, as you saw before, there were bits of the tree, which have been picked out and thrown away from the nest after it was pointed out that those are bad. But they're still scattered around up here, like leaves and bristle and whatnot. There's a bunch of other twigs. There's a bunch of other plants. There's also a big thing stuck in there that looks like it was collected because it was shiny.
Is it the core?
Maybe. Would you like to check it and see?
Sure.
Your locate object is pointing you to it.
Is that investigation?
Yeah, it's investigation. Ooh. Nice. All right. So
go ahead and cast Speak with Animals so I can bird.
here we go. I just want to make sure that it's actually something you can look at. This big old clunky thing. Yeah, it is absolutely a golem core. It is about the size of a human heart, as it was described to you. And it's just sort of sitting there, minding its own business as part of a bird nest.
And the bird's there, right?
Yep, bird's sitting on it, like it's an egg.
Please put that in the nest.
Appears so. Maybe I built the nest around it. But, friend, is it okay if we have this? We need it for something.
Why?
It's the heart of a golem, and we need to put it in the golem so that we can ask it questions.
Okay. And it hops out of the way.
Do I have in my offer?
You're cutting in and out.
She's looking to see if there's anything in her inventory that's shiny that she could give the bird.
Possibly. Yeah, if she's talking, I can't hear her. Just.
Oh no, she's not.
Oh, okay, cool. Got it.
Presumably, I have some like an empty potion bottle or something that I can give it in place of the golem core.
Yeah, you've got some of that. You've got a. I don't think you ever actually returned your tea kettle or your mug either.
Oh, and I don't intend to, but I'm also not giving it to the bird.
That's fair. That's fair. I'm just looking over your inventory for the first time in a while, too.
We literally have Edelfelt gems.
Oh, that's true.
Penelope's gonna pull one out and like hand it out or hand it over to Anise. Give the bird this.
I will pick up the golem core and drop the gem to the spot where it was.
All right, the bird looks at the shiny gem, pecks at it a little bit, almost like it's making sure it's real. Then it sort of sits down on top of it and it just goes, "Good trade, good trade."
It was a good trade.
Yay!
Well, okay. We've found our golem core. I suppose let's return.
Yee!
All right.
Bye, bird.
Weren't those things already visible? Why is the map not showing this? That's weird. Whatever. You can see from up here, right?
What? What are we looking for?
Oh, I was just confused because like it had part of the map not being visible to you, and I guess you didn't go to that part, but I thought you did. For exploring the front of the castle, just because we're on the 3rd floor. There's just a bunch of it blocked out, but I was pretty sure you went to those rooms before. Maybe you just didn't go all the way up. That was probably it. Cool. So yeah, where do you want to go next?
So where else do you think we go?
Anywhere else?
Yeah, I guess let's just head back. End this off the clock.
Started on that golem.
Because it takes him like what? Couple of days? Couple of weeks?
Couple of months. He's saying that he can't go to this Lupin thing. Has to send us a proxy. It has to be at least a few weeks.
That's a fair point. Okay. Yeah, then we should probably give him as much of a head start as he can get.
Perhaps, yes.
Alright. We're running back to the...
Okay.
We're like, yay!
Alrighty. I'm gonna close out all of that. So you're coming back down the... I will drag you back. Whoosh. So when you get back down the stairs, the two of you see Kwaku talking to Echo.
Did you put the thing in your bag? Or you just the core?
I'm just carrying it. I put it in the bag.
It's up to you.
We've got no reason to hide it.
Oh,
and I said in front of her last night that I could locate objects. So.
That's true. Never mind. Ignore me.
Oh, good. You seem to have found it. That's excellent. That's good for obviously restoring the golem, but also it means that we now have access to the treasury, so you can get paid.
The bird thought it was an egg.
The bird just thought it was shiny.
Oh.
I didn't even consider the fact that we might get paid.
Well, I did offer you money.
That is true.
So if you'll follow me, like, the golem was the only one allowed access, but I believe it was the core that did it, so... Assuming you don't want to wait several months, we can just go ahead and do that now.
Yeah, sure.
Alright, so she's gonna take you all over to here. I'm just gonna drag you because the map is big.
Whee.
I don't think I'm gonna have a map this big again. Castles are just big. So she's gonna lead you over here. I think everybody's in the right place now, and when she does, take you to this stairway. If you recall, you actually went on this stairway when you went from the 5th floor to the 6th floor the first time. So it just leads up and down. So she'll take you there. I'm not going to move your tokens floor to floor because stairs are fun, but come on. So many maps. Yeah, so you're on the 3rd floor right now. I'm just going to unmark it for later on the 2nd floor since you're going to go through it. And I'm just going to tell you that I did not build a room for just the treasury on its own map because you have enough maps to deal with. So we're just going to describe this one. So as you travel down, you actually do have to step around some plant roots on this level, the 2nd level, where some of it did break through this part of the castle, but nothing you can't get around. What you notice is that when you get down to the 2nd level, which if you recall from the layout of the castle is above the entrance level with the main gate, there was no way to go under where you're at right now that you could see before because it just is elevated. This is the same level that has the kitchen. And when you get to the bottom of the stairs, everything flattens out. But she actually, she gestures for you to like hold the core up. And when you do, an extra layer of blocks slide down on the left half to create yet another path down that wasn't there before.
Oh, cool.
It's a real pain in the ass, actually. He's the only one who has access to the room, and we have to bother him to go down there whenever we need money, but he's a stickler. So until he gets a body, he has to deal. And so she takes you down a little bit further. And so as you go down further here, there are not natural light sources, but Kwaku does his light thing so that you can see a little better. He just creates a light source on a coin, and that's enough to brighten the path down. You have to be kind of careful because these steps are even less traversed than the ones above. They're also not even. They're not level. So you get the impression that someone trying to go down these things in pitch black without the ability to see would probably fall. You don't know if that's bad design or good design, depending on your goal, but it's something you have to take carefully. You would not want to run up and down these stairs. So, yeah, so you get to the bottom of the stairs, and it opens up into a decently sized room. It's about the size of the kitchen, if you want a frame of reference. And it's like the kitchen's on the 2nd floor that you've been in before. It's about 5 or 6 squares in each direction. And yeah, it's actually kind of weird to look at because when you walk in the room, Kwaku holds up his glowing coin, and it's the kind of thing that when Anna sees it, she might think of the descriptions from stories of like dragon hordes. When Penelope sees it, she might think of DuckTales.
No.
But either way, there's a lot of gold coins in this room. They are covering the floor. They are stacked up in corners. There's a fortune in here. Like, you can suddenly understand how the Einzberns have been able to maintain a castle for over 1,000 years. Tons of gold. Absolute lot of it. In fact, in the center of the room, under all of this gold, you can see this thing, albeit without all of the water bubbles around it. There's a stone sticking up in the middle, and outside of it are crystals that themselves look like gold. And as you're looking at it, you see that occasionally pieces of it seem to chip off or flake off. And then when they hit the pile of the rest of the gold, they sort of shape themselves into coins. It's like it literally is just sitting here making gold in front of your eyes.
That's convenient.
Agreed.
There are some perks to alchemy.
But also, if this thing just makes more gold, why was the golem so stingy about it? That's rude.
Well, if much money enters the economy causes inflation.
That's a good point.
I think it's one of those things where, for some reason, when people have more money, they're less likely to share it.
Perhaps that too.
Well.
And actually, Anise and Penelope can both make an intelligence check right now if they so desire.
Yeah. Get over. Shuffling. Woohoo!
Ooh, spicy. Okay, so yeah, as mentioned before, like Anise is looking at this and like it makes sense that they might not want to throw too much gold around because you obviously still have to run it through some kind of system. Like you can't just show up with infinite gold without getting a lot of attention and possibly pissing off everything. Penelope remembers something from yesterday when she was talking to Anise in the library, though. She remembers that there was a book, and it was on the subject of the Reingold, which, as a very brief recap, is a Norse mythology / musical play thing, depending on how you get to it, about the adventures of Siegfried and falling in love with a Valkyrie and fighting a dragon and so on and so forth. And it was all centered around the concept of the Reingold, which was a gold that was taken from the maidens of the Rhine River. And there's a bunch of backstory to it that I'm not going to go into because it's like 4 plays long. But the important things to note about it were that this is the gold that was promised to the giants for building Valhalla, and Odin didn't actually want to give it to them, so it got cursed and passed around a bunch, and everyone who ended up possessing the Reingold pretty much met an unfortunate ending, including like Siegfried himself. And the form of that was a ring. But a thing to note is that regardless of who held the ring, the one who used it to become a dragon collected a ton of gold. Like a literal dragon's hoard of gold. This is where the trope for dragon hoards of gold comes from. This is kind of what Tolkien was pulling from in Lord of the Rings, or specifically in The Hobbit. And whoever possesses the actual Reingold ring, which is cursed, has absolutely terrible misfortune. And presumably whoever possesses the dragon's hoard, which spawned from the ring, is cursed so long as they hold on to it. Like, it can be spread out, it can be distributed. If it leaves the possession and gets diluted, it's fine. But keeping it all in one place is kind of dooming someone to failure. And now that you're seeing a thing literally generating gold in front of you in the region of the Rhine, after seeing a book about the Rhine gold, you're a little nervous that maybe you've figured out why the Einzberns are so unlucky.
I'm gonna relay this to Anison, but not before just kind of making this like face. That same face she made when she was just like, "Oh my god, I remember this thing," and then yeah. So yeah, Reingold not good. This not good.
Interesting.
So are you two kind of whispering this off in the corner, or are you saying this in front of Echo and Kwaku?
I'm whispering it to Annis, like, should we point this out? Is this too much of a coincidence? Like,
don't know. In the book, did it say that people that possess the coin curse? People that possess the Reingold itself?
From what I understand, it was just the Reingold itself that's cursed. If they distribute the coins, then those aren't.
Oh, good.
But also,
a bit worried that I was.
Yeah, that would suck.
Technically, Annis has been taking this gold for years.
Yeah.
Oh God, that would suck ass. So, but yeah, but like maybe this is also why they've had such shitty luck with everything.
Maybe
this is why. Oh God, maybe this is why they haven't figured out what they're doing. Maybe we leave it here. No, but I don't. Or maybe it's just a shiny rock that generates gold. But
I mean, the living Einzberns did all kill or meet unfortunate. So maybe this is what led to that. I don't know if it's what led to all of the business with homunculi also. Maybe this is why the golem has been stingy.
But if the golem is like, if this is the right, they should be distributing it.
Well, maybe less stingy and more. This is why you can only enter this chamber if you have the heart, not the core.
Gonna bring this up to Kwaku and be like, what do you think?
Oh. Oh.
Yeah, no,
like,
and I'm looping Anise in on too. It's not like I'm just going
like the three of you are huddling over there while Echo just assumed you're like, yeah, that's a lot of gold.
That's a lot of gold. Yeah.
Maybe she's. Are we trying to keep her out of it actively?
Kind of feel like yes. Mostly because I'm just like, I don't know if that's the thing you should point out.
All right. I don't think I have any bonuses in perception. Not at all.
But
okay.
I don't. Should we point this out to her though? Like,
and I'm going to a bit louder say, well, I mean, I did a lot of the work. I did die fighting the tree. I think I should get more of the share.
I mean, you didn't really die.
I got close. The tree picked up wraps and smacked me with him.
You should get hazard pay for that, yes.
Was the 16 enough to deceive her into thinking that we're just talking about that and not being like, yo, shit's current?
Let's find out. You can sort of see her like tilting her head a little bit at you, but she's not like getting all up in your business or anything. Like, this feels a little bit out of character for you, but also she acknowledges maybe that this is more gold than you've ever seen in your life, considering the relatively small amount she's been sending you to keep her alive.
True.
So, given the context of that, she's giving you a little bit of distance to work through this amongst yourselves. Like, you never actually agreed to any terms, so she just asked if you wanted to be rich, and you're like, sure. So,
why not?
Without a definition for rich, she's sort of letting you figure that out on your own, and she's sort of, since she's never been in this room either, like, you kind of get the impression that her attention's a bit split, because she's looking around too.
I don't know, can you destroy the Reingold? Is this a thing you can do?
Well, if it's the actual Reingold, then it was cursed by divine spirits, like gods or something. I don't remember that one exactly, but I believe that's a big deal. But if it was done back then, like, Norse mythology ended. They had their Ragnarok and they were done. It might not even do anything anymore. But I guess more to the point, it's possible that as a golem, it didn't affect him. Because I know a lot of things don't affect Raps that might affect the rest of us. That's why we had him open the envelope. But starting to wonder if we should or shouldn't be down here.
Yeah.
Maybe we collect something and go. Echo, is there anything in here that's not gold? I don't know. Have a look around. Never been here before.
Sounds like geisha.
Hell yeah.
Investigate that hoard. Nice.
I'm also going to investigate.
Ooh! Oh, you're making me dig out the bottom of the chart. Okay. All right.
I know.
I'm dying. Fine. Don't worry about it.
Okay. I mean, I made the chart, so I'm going to honor it. One of you getting a 19 and the other getting a 23 means I just scroll to the bottom. Cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so I guess I'll roll one for Kwaku too, just to be fair. I don't think he's going to beat those rolls, but
He somehow gets a natural 21.
he is not a born investigator. But well, actually, no, he's got a really high. Oh, because he uses that to make stuff. Okay, well, he might do okay. We'll see. Ooh, we hit a 25. What the hell, Kwaku?
Wow, high rollers tonight.
Oh, man.
We'll let Raps
Kwaku, why are you hiding your stuff? You're not an NPC. Come on, Kwaku.
Jelly.
Stop being rude.
Gosh, Kwaku. Why we can't have nice things?
It's probably because I'm the one rolling it. Regardless, okay. So, I'm going to tell each of you what you found. Neat. So, I'm trying to decide if I want to do this. Are you guys hiding from each other while you do this, or do you want me to just read it? I don't know how sneaky you're trying to be, because you've all split off.
I mean, depends on what we found.
I mean, that's fair. I could paste it into the chat box in different languages that each of you can only see, if you want to do that. Because, like, you're on the same call, but you're on different computers, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Utilize that chat box.
It is admittedly underutilized. All right. So let's pick a language. So Penelope knows some languages. I'm assuming Anise doesn't have halfling.
No.
Okay, I'm going to be giving you more information than you would probably intuit, but you can figure out a bit just from looking at it. So I'm just going to paste this at you, along with probably your innate reactions to it. Well, first I'm going to test this. So, halfling.
It does indeed say halfling.
Okay.
In halfling.
So you see halfling. The chat sees a bunch of gibberish.
XXDSL.
Okay, so yeah, you also see gibberish. Cool. Excellent. Yay. Working as intended.
Halfling is just key smash.
Yeah. Awesome. So here is what Penelope finds. Paste that text. Ooh, it has a little asterisk on it. All right, well, enjoy that.
Ooh la la. Ho! But, sorry, pardon me.
All right, and here is what Anise, as the one who speaks Druidic, I'm pretty confident is the only one who has that. We will drop that in. Why isn't Druidic on the list? What's wrong with you people? I'm offended that Druidic isn't on the drop-down list. That's an oversight. All right. Well, we know that German is not a language that Penelope can speak.
That's true.
Just put it in German. It's fine.
There you go. That shows up as gibberish to you, right?
Oh yeah, I cannot read that.
Excellent.
I can't read it either.
You can't read it either?
No, I don't know why.
It says it's understood by Anise. Okay. Let's do that. These are the tools that we never use.
Huh. Okay, so I selected German and I typed German and I can't read it.
Okay, it's probably because it's swapping it into cool font nonsense. Hold on.
Oh, probably.
Let's turn off cool font nonsense.
Now I can read what...
Yeah. Now you can read what she found.
Yeah. I read the first couple words.
I was trying to copy paste it into like a text file.
Yeah. It's fine. I looked away as soon as I realized I could read it. I didn't see much. I know it's a scroll of something.
There. It's disappeared now. Languages. All right. So it's turning.
Oh, whole thing's gone now.
Yep. I wiped it out.
Oh, good.
I can message it to you later if you need it, but I imagine it's still on your clipboard.
I was trying to copy it into my note, and apparently Fantasy Grounds does not like that.
That sounds right. Okay, so yeah, what happened was I set up German to display as Dwarven, which is why you can't read it, because you as a human cannot read Dwarven. That's a weird setting to have. All right, so now German. Anna should see the word German.
Yep.
Penelope should see COQNMA. All right, cool. So we did that. Here is what you found.
There's just like the one question mark at the end.
Yeah, that is make it funny. I like how I can see both of them because I have two instances open.
You don't have to tell me what it says, but does the description end in a question mark?
Yep.
And Kwaku finds something else. Good job, Kwaku. Way to find something else. So you each found some things.
Penelope's gonna pick up the thing she found, and she's like, "I'll take this."
Oh,
this is all, I don't even want any gold. I just want this.
Interesting. And so she's kind of walking over to take a look and see what it is.
Kind of like clutches it to her, like it's. I want this.
Okay, roll persuasion.
Oh Lord. Charisma, don't fail me now.
And it didn't.
Ah.
Oh, well, if you prefer paper to gold, you've made all of this possible, and your group has kept me alive, so sure, I guess. What do I care? The golem never told me it was down here anyway. Sure, each of you can take something else if you would prefer that to the gold. Just don't take the rock that makes the gold. That would be problematic.
Quite. I found it's not really useful to me. I'm not quite sure what it means, but it's a contract from the Atlas Institute.
Oh, really?
The Einzbern, it and the Einzberns, and the stipulation was that they must successfully create a practitioner of the third magic, but I believe that they did, so I'm not sure why this contract is down here.
How familiar are you with the contracts of the Atlas Institute?
Interesting question that I'm sure I could roll something.
Maybe Arcana?
History?
It'd probably be history for mages.
Not as...
Okay, that's fair. Like, you know what the Atlas Institute is, at least, so that's cool. You know that they're the group based out of Egypt of the Mages Association, who, rather than being like the high pedigree mages who have generations of magic circuits, they instead turn to a different branch of alchemy and sort of huddled themselves up building their own, essentially, technology that can be utilized by people who don't have amazing magic circuits. And you know that for the most part, whatever they make isn't allowed out. So Kwaku's just going to sort of lean in and go, so the thing is, there are 7 of those in the world, and they're essentially contracts that allow people to ask them for help with something. And whoever holds the contract can get them to break their own rules about not releasing things to the world. To my knowledge, only 3 or 4 of them have been recovered, so if this has just been sitting down here for over 1,000 years, then they would probably offer a lot to get that back, even if it has already been filled. What you're holding right there is leverage against one of the most powerful organizations in the world.
Finders keepers? Can also have gold, though.
Echo is sort of staring at this, and she's like, didn't realize we had that.
Could be more helpful in your pursuit. I mean, it is, rightfully yours, as, I guess, one of the only Einzberns left.
I suppose that is true. On the same note, if someone else has it, then I suppose we don't have to cash in. Tell you what, I'm never going to go to Atlas Institute to return it, so feel free to grab as much gold as you feel like carrying, and go ahead and honor that debt for us if you ever foresee yourself interacting with them again.
Don't know what I need it for, but
just hang on to it.
I suppose I'm starting a collection of things I don't know what their purpose is yet, so stick it in my bag.
Okay, I will add it to your bag. You may also do a strength check to see how much gold you can pick up.
Oh. I just kind of fill the teapot and... No, wait, no, I don't do that. I want to be able to make tea.
That was mostly a joke. I'm not holding you to your strength check. She didn't tell you to take what you can carry. She just told you to grab some gold.
That's true.
Okay, so I've added Atlas contract to your inventory. Neat.
Tea kettle out. I could fit a little more gold in the tea kettle.
I mean, you are carrying your luggage.
That's true. Is this your way of going, never worry about money ever again as long as we're in this campaign?
It's my way of telling you that you've got access to enough money that you don't have to worry about anything small.
Okay.
Like...
I can't buy a country, though.
You can't make your own Einzbern castle in the middle of London. But you don't have to worry about keeping track of the cost of flights or any, purchases that are within reason. You've got plenty of access to that gold. Money was never that big of a thing that any of you had to worry about in the first place. Although this does actually give you the amount of money that you would possibly need to make a much bigger impact on the things you care about. Like, I know that Anise before was spending some of her gold to, protect land and support environmental causes and things like that. Well, you can do a lot more of that now. You've effectively got a pile of influence that you can wield via gold versus simply the ability to buy more stuff. Because for the most part, mages operate on favors and trading instead of money, because any of them can get money.
Yeah.
And only the Tosakas really burn through it so fast because they literally spend millions of dollars on some rocks that they break to cast one spell. So
that's true.
Most of the rest of them are fine. Like, even the poorest mage families do pretty well for themselves.
Time to go buy some anime figurines.
Oh no!
Some more tits and ass. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. That is not something Anise would. Nope. Anise doesn't even watch anime.
Anise is like,
no.
I will buy every Saba figure, all of them, even Seda.
I'll have to fight Medea for them, but I will do it.
Ooh.
Thus, the 6th Grail War began.
Oh, jeez.
On second thought, I know I said I just want to take this piece of paper, but I'm also going to take it.
That's fair.
Generates it.
Good. I'm only going to take a little.
Okay. So as each of you are picking up the gold, you can do a wisdom saving throw.
Oh no!
No.
I think Anise has advantage on that.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Let me check, but I'm pretty sure you do.
I mean, I have a +4.
Or whatever your bonus is for things like that.
I'm proficient.
Let me see. Okay, actually, yeah, you do have advantage, Anise.
Huh, okay. I will gladly roll again.
You'll take whichever one's better.
Okay,
that one. That one's better. Okay, so as you're picking up the gold, Penelope, as you're picking it up, you get this itch that's like, but I could pick up more. But she's letting me take more. Maybe I could just carry some more. But as you're doing it, like the back of your brain is like, or alternatively, no, maybe don't do that because this might be cursed. And so you resist the impulse to do that. And Anise, you don't feel anything at all. You're totally fine. Like, Penelope was feeling a bit of temptation, especially as she was picking up coins a little bit closer to the middle. But Anise has shrugged it all off. Such as the majesty of being a half-elf.
Oh, that's why I have the advantage. Gotcha.
Yep.
Gotta send some of this back to other people.
I mean, admittedly, this is more gold than, like, your family's ever seen.
Woohoo!
So, there is that.
Probably more gold than most people have ever seen.
Yeah, it's a comically large amount of gold. Like, you can... like, if you just imagine if that many gold coins fell off of this thing once a day, then if that's just the only time of the day that things fall off of it, then this has been sitting here for over 1,000 years generating gold. Like, at one point in time, this thing was generating enough gold to support a castle that had people living in it and eating food constantly and all of that. And for the last 1,000 years, it hasn't needed to support much of any of that. Like, suddenly it makes sense that the Einzberns could just build another castle when they felt like it would be convenient to have a local castle in an area that they spend a few months every 60 years. So,
fair. Checks
out. But yes, you now have arbitrarily large amount of money.
Woo!
Hooray. Yeah, Kwaku's, he found something too. He's not really doing much to hide it since everyone's doing stuff out in the open. But it's also a piece of paper. It's like a big scroll that's all rolled up. And he's sort of looking over it for a second. He's like, uh-huh. And so he kind of rolls it up and he puts it in his big travel case that he carries around, in like his steamer chest, and then he's like, "Well, when in Rome," and then he just shoves a bunch of gold into his magical other porter steamer chest, like more than the two of you took, but not a ridiculous amount because like he likewise doesn't really worry too much about gold.
Seems that he took a little more than Anise. Anise just kind of casually leans back down and scoops a few more handfuls into her bag.
That's fair.
Well, I'm good.
Okay. Right, well, I'm going to grab some just for the necessary operations so that I don't have to crawl back down here once you've actually got the core in the process of installing, so let's just take care of that. I suppose while we have the core, this is also your last chance if you feel the need to explore certain other parts of the castle. Perhaps make sure there's nothing else sneaking around in here. The throne room and the ritual chamber both also require the golem to enter.
Yeah, we could go check those out. Head back.
Okay.
What was it?
The ritual chamber.
Well, maybe not that. Oh.
What is the ritual chamber for?
That sounds spooky.
Oh, it's where they summon the servants. Well, one of them. It's where they summon the last servant. It's also where those plants that... Actually, we should go there. We should definitely go there. It's where the plants that you use for your potions are grown. I suspect that would probably be worth our while.
Yes, and speaking of that, consider every potion you need paid for in advance.
I appreciate that. Hopefully, as we get things sorted out, I won't need to bother you as often, regardless. You can bet I won't be late.
Yes. And perhaps maybe there's ingredients that I could use to brew a different kind of potion, maybe, or something more potent that would just stop your ranging entirely, perhaps.
That would be appreciated. Okay. You can assume that Raps is coming around with you. I'm just going to stop adding him to every single map because he doesn't do anything. So we are now up here. You can close the map you've got open now, by the way. And all those pictures, you don't need them anymore. Because we're going to go here. It's that floor you keep ignoring.
I mean,
which one?
The fourth floor.
Oh.
I love how Penelope's just floating in the void.
We're all just kind of floating in the void.
It's true.
Like, void time.
And I can't move.
Yeah, I'm going to give you all of that once I draw the lines.
Oh no. Oh no. Oh well.
Turn that off pretty quick. Okay, so this is the first time you've been on the fourth floor, other than the staircase. So a few things that you notice about the fourth floor. As with the others, like the main hallway from the stairs is pretty standard design. This hallway, though, got more spider webs on it than the other ones did.
Look at Kwaku, like
these doors.
My room is on this floor, so you know.
Makes.
Right.
Where did you sleep? Did you sleep in a spider web?
No. Why would I do that? Awkward face.
Like a sticky hammock.
I've never considered it, but maybe.
Me and Anna slept in some leaves.
They were very comfortable.
That's fair. I respect that. So Echo is gonna walk over here. Like, have you handed her the core, or are you still holding it?
I handed over the core.
Okay. She's gonna wave it like a key card at the door, and it's gonna open.
Beep.
And I'm just gonna, instead of free drawing that every time, I'm just gonna give you a big old, behold, this is what it looks like. Blah.
Ooh.
It's a big old room.
Shiny.
Yeah. All right, so you should be able to go in there now. I think you can move your tokens again.
Holy.
Yeah, you can. Okay, cool. All right, so yeah, this is a big room. This is the biggest room you've seen in the castle so far. This is actually bigger than the room with all the bats in it. It's huge. And this is one of the only rooms in the entire castle that's so big that you can see windows on 3 sides. You can see windows facing out each area, and there's actually like a little balcony area off on the left that overlooks. So, yeah, this is huge. And this room, it's got a lot going on. So, for starters, there's a bunch of pillars in the room that are holding it up across the middle. And there's a big fountain in the middle of it. And in the picture, you see a whole bunch of things that look kind of like, almost like, airport seating or whatever. Mm-hmm. Those are actually boxes that contain a wide variety of plants. They're like box plant things that are just shaped around. Anise can tell from looking around the room without even having to roll for it that this room is set up with a great deal of attention to space and proximity to each other. Like the entire room is one giant magic circle when you factor in where all the plants are. It's the kind of thing that you would intentionally grow in a grove if you were planning on doing long-term druidic rituals, but here it's all been set out, just indoors. Those pillars that you see all around have little alcoves in them pointing towards the middle of the room, and in each one is a little statue that reminds you of the big ones that you saw outside. These are much smaller and they're made of gold. And so of them, you can see the 7 statues that you've seen so far outside. And then the 8th one that's in front of you right now is a golden cup.
I approached that one seeing it was different from, it was in the same vein, but like I hadn't seen it yet. It was just different from the rest of them.
Yeah. So yeah, looking at it, it almost looks like the cliche image of a Holy Grail. Like it's a chalice, it's golden, or at least gold plated. You'd have to chip it to find out, I guess. But it looks like it's made of gold. And it's sitting in place in this piece here. Another thing that you'll notice is that there's actually you can roll investigation to see how much you notice about this, but you're probably going to get all of it. Just like to let you actually use your stats. And how? Okay, cool. Yeah, you get even more information. I'm glad I asked you to roll it. So, looking at this, what you can see is that, as I mentioned before, this entire room looked like a circle, and each of these pillars is located at a key part of a circle. Like they're all reinforcing on one another. And the 2 elements at the front, in this case, the one with the cup, and the one with what you heard of before as being the berserker statue, the one that apparently affected people's minds outside. These 2 are at the front. And when you look closely at the one that has the cup, like the one right in front of you, you notice that the area around the alcove part that the cup is sitting in right now has taken some damage. Like it's almost like when it was made of clay, someone just hit it with something. But from the cracks and whatnot, this looks like it happened after it was a solid stone. Like something big and dangerous punched it or smashed it or charged into it or something. Almost like a bull charged into it. Something big hit it. And there's like a very fine powder permanently fused into the stone behind it. So like the stone itself is a similar stone to the rest of the statue. It's kind of dark. It's got some lines in it going up and down it as are typical for like, Magecraft designs. But that part that's been crunched in on itself, you can see that apparently something was practically turned into a powder and ground into it. The closest example that you can think of would be when you would see other druids showing off their ability to enhance their own strength either through wild shaping or other spells, and then crush things together and almost fuse them. Something like that happened here to some kind of different stone being crushed into this stone. And now there's just sort of a cup sitting on top of that space. And because you rolled a 19 on your investigation, I'm going to tell you that the impact there, it looks kind of like a fist. And you can only really think of a few things with a fist that big that you've seen. Because, like, this is bigger than a rap's fist. You saw that golem outside. It could have been that. But you're kind of getting the vibe that it matches more that weird shadow thing that showed up when the bird stole that doll. So maybe whatever that was left this mark instead. And you can probably piece together with this being a summoning chamber what that was from what Penelope told you was summoned last time.
Berserker.
Yeah.
Ran right over.
It also checks out because the Berserker is chilling in the opposite pillar. What's Penelope doing?
I don't know. She's gonna check out this fountain.
Okay. Yeah, the fountain has water in it, as you would be surprised. Hooray! Yeah, it has water in it. Would you like to look in it deeper? Because it's pretty big. Like, this thing's like 7 or 8 feet across. So
Sure.
You may investigate.
Investigation. Boom. Woo!
Oh man, making me use all my notes. Okay,
Hi,
I'll take it. This is fun for me. It's nice to know I did write notes. So yeah, one thing that you notice is that at the center of this fountain, there's actually a slight indentation of a circle, right in the middle on top of it. It just has a small area that something could sink into.
I wonder if these statues or like if you can take them and just like bloop, drop them in the fountain.
I suppose you probably could. I've never seen the ritual myself, but my understanding is that after the Fourth Grail War, they built this room to better facilitate controlling their summons. They summoned the servant for the 4th floor above this in the audience chamber, but the 5th Grail War servant they summoned here. And I believe the statues in this room connect with the statues outside to empower them, but also the orientation of these statues presumably aids in the summoning process. You would have to ask the golem for details.
I guess I'll take like a quick look around at all the plants.
Okay, so roll nature.
I'm gonna give myself guidance.
Go for it.
Let's an extra D4 and add it to I'm not gonna add the D4 because it's not gonna help.
I mean,
Ooh. Wait. Hold up. Hold the phone.
Yeah.
Good. You know why? Or somebody to me. Wait, hold on.
You can. It counts.
Bountiful luck, baby.
So I roll again?
Yes.
Yeah.
I could roll again.
That is the opposite.
I'm gonna add the D4 just for fun. 23.
Are you feeling some mileage out of that, Penelope?
I just rolled a straight 20. I didn't actually roll my nature.
No, it adds up. I'm adding it to it, so that you're 25.
Yeah.
You feeling better about your choices now, Penelope?
Oh, I didn't regret them to begin with. I just forgot I had it.
I was waiting to let you do that because I don't want to, be the boss on that. But I also knew it was a new thing, so I was going to remind you if you didn't. But yeah, you got it. So totally.
I was momentarily distracted by how shiny the grail is, and then I went, "Oh, I should look at the plant."
So yeah. So what happened was you started looking at the plants, and you're like, "Oh, these are just some plants." I was hoping for something more exciting, and then something caught your eye just a little bit. And then you looked at the plant again closer, and the plant that you're looking at doesn't quite make sense to you because you've seen similar plants to it before, but the leaves are a little different. They're shaped a little differently, and then you realize why. It's because you've seen a picture of this, but you've never seen it before because it's extinct. There are plants in here that you have never seen ever. You've read about them in books. You've been told descriptions of them, largely for filling in your history, because it's obviously known that if you start to crossbreed plants, you can come up with different things. So it's important that you understand things that don't exist anymore because the world has choked them out. You remember the druids telling you, as part of their cautionary tale, that once there were many plants, there were many flowers, there were many leaves, but over time, especially as a result of humans, they've died out and there's no bringing them back. But in this weird Einzbern time capsule, you found some plants that are extinct, that aren't supposed to exist anymore, and suddenly the weird stuff that they've sent you to make these potions makes more sense. You were fairly confident that you'll never find these plants outside, and there's a bunch of them. They're all over the room. And I'm going to operate on the assumption that since you're not in a hurry, Anise takes her time walking around and looking at all of them.
Yeah, I'm just blown. My mind is just blown.
Did you find any good ones?
Many of these are extinct outside of this room, so I would say so.
Oh. Take your time then. I'm going to not step on anything. Kwaku immediately looks under his feet just to make sure.
Do I get the sense that these are being magically grown, or are they just naturally just continuing to live in this room?
So this room does have lighting, but not a ton from outside. Since you recalled from before, there's a ley line pointing directly down from outside and then back up through the castle that's powering the stuff upstairs. But you're kind of getting the vibe that the ley line is what's allowed these things to survive without being outside. Because, these are potted plants. These are not in real soil. But something about this room is enabling them to grow anyway. And...
flowering, or...
Yeah, they're flowering like this. It's almost like being in a perfect greenhouse.
So I get the sense that maybe I could get some seeds eventually.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, cool. You absolutely get the vibe that you could take these things out. You could take some seeds. They would have to be cared for properly. But, you could possibly bring some of these species back. At least in small capacities. Over time and over generations, they could be spread and properly preserved. This is kind of like being in a seed vault. There's enough here to work with, but no one presumably has been in here to care to do that. But some of the herbs and whatnot that you find in here might have amazing implications for your potions too. Maybe a lot of things that weren't on the table before are now.
Now, don't get your hopes too up, Echo, but I might be able to make good on that promise of stopping your aging. I might, depending on my skill level and limitations, I may be able to somewhat reverse your aging. I don't know if that's something that's possible for non-homunculi, but... And then I just stop talking.
Okay, so for the first time in a bit, like, you're actually seeing a look on her face of, like, surprise, like, actual wonder. Like, this was never a thing that crossed her mind as a possibility. And then she just sort of, like, it's kind of like when a child who you see their chin sort of quiver, like they're about to cry or something, and then she sort of gathers herself and she's like, that would be a wonderful gift, if that is possible. I'll try not to get my hopes too high, because it shouldn't be possible, but
some of these plants, theoretically, if they behave the way I've learned, it could be very well possible. It's just all a matter of, really comes down to me.
Well, take what you need. So long as the overall orientation of the room does not change, it should not interfere with the ritual. Not that we'll be summoning anything anytime soon anyway. I'm afraid even with the ley lines as they are now and redirected, it will still be some time before we can conduct a Grail War, and we would obviously still need to find somewhere to host it. So, by all means, take what you need.
I believe I'll need to come back here later. I don't have the proper supplies to... Yes, I will do that eventually. Just kind of standing there in shock, staring at a plant that I've only ever, like, heard of in the elder circle of people talking about plants.
The plant otaku.
These are some nice
plants. Penelope, Roland.
And I'm just like, this plant is old enough that it predates bees. Do you know how it was pollinated by beetles?
Oh, that's
Fun fact, that's actually how ginkgo plants
what?
are. No, magnolia trees are like that. Ginkgo plants are older than beetles.
Oh,
so old that they don't know how they were pollinated.
That's cool. I actually did not know that.
Real life plant facts.
Nerd. Anyway.
Druid street cred achieved. Yeah, so while Anise is info dumping about plants at you, Penelope, roll perception, because I imagine you're looking around for other things. So you find this is interesting, but, like, you're not entirely a botanist, so.
So what am I doing?
Just roll perception.
Oh, okay. So I heard you say roll, and then I'm like, what am I rolling?
The beetles would come to eat the little berries, and they'd get all the pollen on the mandibles, and then they would take it to it.
So yeah, what you do notice is that one of the plants, as she's going over all of this with you, that she hasn't gotten to yet, is very similar to the mistletoe that you found in your window.
Oh. Wait, okay, Anise, I need you to stop talking for like 5 seconds.
Oh, okay.
It's totally fine. This is also about plants, so you'll be excited about it.
Oh, okay.
Because you are a plant nerd, it's fine. Just accept it.
I'm nodding, which is great for an audio medium.
Look at this plant. Doesn't it look familiar?
Yes.
Isn't that what we found in the window?
The mistletoe.
Yeah.
Guess, do I look closer and determine if it's actual mistletoe or...
It is actual mistletoe, but it's the same strand that you saw in the other room on the other side of the building in the window. So, like, this isn't like a special weird offshoot of mistletoe. It's just still weird that it's here. I guess in this environment it makes more sense. Because, like, before you're like, this should be growing on something. Why is it here? Well... And
then the mistletoe we found, was it fairly fresh or was it kind of old?
No, it was fresh. It was like, fresh isn't the right word for it. It wasn't like fresh grown off the wall or anything. It's more like mistletoe that you would find like at Christmas that was grown at some point and then separated for a little while. So it's kind of dried out, but not like found in an attic from 3 years ago mistletoe. Like it was presumably removed from, like, you would know this from looking at plants. It was probably removed in the last month or two.
Okay.
Hey, Echo, question.
Yes?
You said that there was somebody staying here not that long ago, right?
The last guests, to my knowledge, were the Edelfelt.
How long ago was that?
Let me look at the notes just so that I don't lie to you.
Wow, you keep notes on this?
I do. Well, you looked at the gatehouse log, so I actually do have these. All right, so yeah, just for reference, right now is March 17. I think. No, today's March 18th. Finally, yeah, you're on Friday. Nice, good job. So it's March 18th right now. When you were looking through the logs at the front gate, yes, at the beginning of February, the Edelfelts visited, specifically Lavisa, one of the business partners. She was a master in the Third Grail War.
Ah.
She visited, I guess, about a month and a half ago. She was the first visitor we received since Master Ilya left.
And then this tree stuff happened after that, or was it going on while she was there?
No, it was later. Like, the tree stuff wasn't that long ago. It was just maybe a week or two ago. So, like, just to give a rough timeline, because I know that we've covered this over the course of, like, 3 real months. Yeah, the timeline for these things is that normally Anise gets a request around the beginning of the year for her potions, and you didn't get it in January at all, and that made you a little bit nervous, and you didn't get it in February either, and then you finally got your letter in March, and the one in March was all messed up, so that prompted you to go and get on a train and head over on your own. In February, apparently the Edelfelt visited at the beginning of February, and then at some point after you got your letter, but before you got here, obviously, since she got knocked out when that attack happened, so presumably within the last week or so, the attack happened on the castle, and by extension, the ghosts started appearing in the area around, which is what brought Crosby to the area. I think I'm going to go back to the calendar and add events that weren't specifically the two of you to make this a little bit easier to follow in the future, since you do know that information.
Yeah. So where is the calendar in? Never mind, I found it.
There you go. Literally. Yeah, it looks like a little flippy thing. Yeah, I'll go through and I'll fill that in at least to the beginning of this year, because I know that I've given you that info dump over the course of 12 sessions, so it absolutely makes sense for that to get muddy.
If you click on the calendar and, like, basically the days are highlighted, there's like a little dot on them, and if you click on it, it gives you a summary of what happened on that day.
Oh.
Yeah.
Fucking cool.
That is cool.
That's how I've been keeping track of this stuff. I just need to go through and turn some of the GM dots into player dots, because you know those things now. So I'll do that after the session.
Yay. Lord, so they were busy yesterday.
Yeah, you two have had an incredibly busy 3 days prior to this one.
Yesterday was a very busy St. Patrick's Day.
In 2005.
In 2005.
I suppose that's true.
But anyway.
Yeah. So, yeah, she tells you that the Edelfelts were the last ones to visit. Although that visit does align with your expectation for about how old that mistletoe was.
So, would they have had any reason to come in here?
I suppose it's possible if the golem was talking to them. I know that typically after a Grail War, he gathers the founding families and they start planning the next one, but given the Fuyuki situation, I don't believe he had the option of gathering the other founding families, so I sort of assumed that he went back to the previous participants to start planning the next one. And given most of the participants in the Fourth Grail War died and the founding families were gone, I suppose he might have gone to the Third Grail War.
Because I found this when we were in the rooms yesterday where they were staying. And she shows her the little, like, bit of mistletoe. And it matches that plant.
I suppose they must have come in here then. Not sure why they would have mistletoe.
Anise, do you know what this is for? Or...
I made a roll and you told me that what spell it could have possibly been or what family of spells it.
Right. You can do the roll again and maybe you'll get more details this time.
Or not. Arcana?
This could be nature or arcana. They both apply for druids.
Nature. Do I get to re-roll again? It's only the first one.
Hold on.
I think it's just on ones.
It's only on ones.
Okay.
You essentially are an honorary halfling for the purposes of rerolls, as long as she decides to let you do that.
You're a
Gotcha.
halfling without the height. Hooray.
And it is a decision, because she doesn't get to be a halfling for those purposes on the turn when she gives it to someone else.
Oh, gotcha.
It's a fun trade-off. I think it's actually one of the neater things to do. Because the odds of you both rolling a 1 in the same turn are pretty low.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just kind of neat. Okay, so yeah, like you get the sense. Let me check something. It's so weird how classifications of spells work in D&D. Okay, so yeah, I've looked this up. So assuming that this is a spell that's being used for druidic magic, which would make the most sense, like it's what you're familiar with, this would be an abjuration spell. Abjuration spells they do a variety of things, actually. There's a wide range of stuff that abjuration's used for, which makes that a little bit harder to pinpoint. Do an Arcana check, and I'll give you an idea of the most commonly used abjuration spells. Okay. Pull up the list. This is the part where I'm punished for not knowing every druid spell.
How dare you?
For some reason, I don't know every druid. There's a lot of druid spells.
There are.
And you have access to all of them, which makes it harder. Oh, the internet filters suck. Okay, I'm just going to scroll down very quickly. Keep things moving. So, like, automatically, I'm just going to tell you, not that this is what was used, but the most common abjuration spell that you encounter would be, like, the really basic stuff. Like, because abjuration is really about reinforcing things. So, like, resistance, absorb elements, things that, help. Like, restoration spells are good for abjuration. You cast Pass Without Trace all the time. Like, that's definitely abjuration. Some of the more bigger deal abjuration spells would be things like the the various protection spells, like protection from energy, protection from whatever. Stone skin, anything like planar binding is a super big deal for mages. The restoration spells that fix people. Counter spells a popular one, or dispel magic. Those are pretty popular. So there's a variety of things that it could be used for. But in terms of things that are relevant for what's going on right now, short of if they were healing or trying to reinforce anything, the only real reason that you would carry mistletoe around is if you were expecting another mage to do something to you and you wanted to be able to counter it. Which, given how paranoid mages are, would kind of make sense.
Okay. Well, my best guess about that is that they were perhaps healing someone, maybe they're reinforcing their defenses. Could have been a counter spell, pass without a trace, maybe to around the castle, without knowing why they were here and what they were doing. Hard to really know what it was used for, but it does look like it was used for magic.
Interesting. I'll go ask some of my friends to wander around and see if they can find more of it. And sort of with that, like Kwaku having not much knowledge about plants in the first place, steps out, and you can sort of see him in the hallway walking up to some of those spider webs that he set up and like at the spiders.
We now can speak spider.
You hear a little bit of it. It's almost like the way people talk to cats. And they sort of fan out for a little bit, and he just sort of hangs back with one of his fingers on the spider web listening in. Does he do that often?
Yeah.
Oh, well. Carry on then. But yes, this is the summoning chamber, so generally only the golem and his guests are allowed in here, so this is kind of fun for me to see too. I suppose whenever we get to the next Grail War, this room could be used for a summons. Not necessary, but nice to have. In the meantime, I suppose as long as everything is working fine outside, this should be good. Other than that, just because there's so much stuff in here to look for, each of you roll perception one more time. The die roll's so weird.
Did it even? Nope. Oh.
Sometimes it bounces out and goes across the screen.
Yeah.
I rolled exactly the same thing I did.
Ha. Well, I mean, honesty's fun. Okay, so Anise is still sort of looking around at all of her world of plants. Penelope, you notice that the pillars above each of the statues, like I said before, they kind of have lines on them that branch up towards the ceiling and into the floor. You've seen lines like this similarly on the pillars upstairs and just other mage context. As you recall, you once met a woman from the Atlas Institute who had much more modern tech-looking magecraft stuff, and it had a bunch of these lines on them too. They kind of make you remember the time that you saw either a movie or a promo for the movie Tron. Just weird lines everywhere. So you notice that the lines going up and down from each of the pillars are glowing a little bit, but the ones going to the statue of that's holding a sword, glowing a lot more.
All right, I'm gonna go over to that one. Whoa, maybe. There we go. That one, right?
Yep. As you get a little closer to it, you can sort of feel a little more heat coming off of it.
Hey, did you notice this was glowing more? Or that these were glowing at all?
Let me roll to figure out if I can tear my eyes away from the plants. Oh, that's great. Yes. Glowing more, sure. I'm not even looking at you.
Yeah.
I'm like moving over here to inspect these plants instead.
Arcana check.
Go for it.
What am I checking? What can I check? Arcana. Let's check Arcana. Oh, we're gonna re-roll that.
Because you can. It really sat on the 20 for so long, too.
It was just like, yeah, we're going to get another 20.
If you were going to get to turn 2 1s into 20s, that'd be amazing. Yeah, you're not really sure what this thing does. Like, Echo told you that these are related to the statues outside. That's about all you got.
It's going to poke it.
It is warm.
Huh.
And for the second that your finger is touching it, you get the feeling similar to when you were outside and you first got here, as you were passing through the barrier that went with the saber statue, where the air felt a little bit thinner and the world felt a little bit less real. That's the feeling you get while you're touching it.
Ooh. Weird.
This time you're not wearing the special clothes that suddenly get heavier, so you don't really have that to go with it, but otherwise it's the same experience.
Huh. I guess these are kind of like the ones outside. They do the same... Probably do the same thing.
This one's just pretty warm.
I can't believe I'm seeing these alive and in person, and they're real. And it's not a drawing in a museum or a book.
Okay. Alright, well, this room is nice. These statues are cool. There's plants, I guess. I'm bored. So I'm gonna go elsewhere.
I'm going to go... I'm gonna pry myself away. Kwaku.
Yes.
The core that gets us access to this room, do you have to... Is it the last thing added to the golem, or do you have to start and build off of it?
I could build parts of it, but it works best if I use it as the centerpiece.
Okay. There's a way we can block the door open. I need more materials than I have with me in order to properly get the seeds and clippings and things from these plants. Room is off limits to anyone that doesn't have the core.
Right. Well, I still need to gather the other materials to build the golem first anyway, so there's a little time if you would like to use the next few days.
How close was the nearest town that had a proper store stuff?
You could get back to the saloon itself in a few hours now that you're not avoiding trees. And from there you could, well, for starters, there's a car waiting for Penelope, so there's that, and then it's not that far away because you got from the train station to the saloon in a few hours.
Okay.
So there's plenty of Germany around you. Contrary to the remoteness that the fantasy setting implies, at any given time in the real world, you're not that far away from civilization. So you could absolutely go get supplies and come back without too much trouble.
I don't know, I don't know what you need for, garden stuff. But, maybe there's some of it here in the castle?
Maybe.
I mean, I have a car back at the saloon, apparently.
You do?
Yeah, my manager drove over here.
Oh.
He's just parked at the saloon. But basically he could take us where we need to go if, you can't find stuff here, but...
We should have a lot of supplies just for normal garden purposes, but if you need anything more specific, then we might be out of luck.
need to think about it. Really, like, get myself organized. Could also set up a brewing station and try my hand at maybe brewing that potion that can stop your aging, for example. Also, that could take, depending. How long do you think it will take to build the golem?
I'm afraid that's going to likely take me at least a month. But I don't need to add the core immediately. Like, I can only delay that pot for so long, but...
I was thinking that would probably be... Well, I mean, proper potion can take years of experimentation to brew, but probably make some progress.
Admittedly, he sort of whispers this part more to you so that Echo can't hear it. Admittedly, if we're using a smaller golem, it will be easier to literally move it to the door. I could just put it on a cart.
Just have Raps carry it around.
It'd be like, beep. Just scan the golem child, it's fine.
Effectively pushing the golem around in like a little kid cart at a grocery store. Like a race car.
Regardless, you need to get back to your manager at the saloon, I suppose.
Yeah, at some point soon, or he's probably going to have an aneurysm, and I will never hear the end of that.
Shall we check out the other room upstairs?
Yeah, let's go.
I need to leave now, or I will never leave this room.
All right, let's go, you nerd. Just tries to push Anise out the door. But with that strength of 9, I don't think.
Contested strength check.
We'll go willingly.
All right.
Oh, I've gotten so buff.
The bare minimum, if I'm going to be here a month.
Take that, France.
Oh, right. The I totally forgot about that because
Oh, jeez. Oh, well, I guess we're not going to France now.
No, like we can go to France. I can like plant nerd and potion things, and then we can go to France, and then I can go back.
Whoosh. All right, upstairs.
Yeehaw.
All right, and she's going to open the throne room. Just because.
Curious, too, because she's never been, probably.
It's like, this is the best day of my life.
She is barely ever even in the castle, so she definitely doesn't get to see these things.
Upstairs, the golem's AI is just like, oh, no, don't abuse my core. What are you doing? Stop.
This is what happens when you don't lock your home screen. There you go. I'm not sure if you have enough blocks to walk through there or not. Let's find out. I think you do. Are you locked on the screen or can you walk around? Because you've been on it enough times before that I think you can just walk around.
Found him in the room. Gonna sit on the throne.
Okay, so you've gone in the throne room. Hooray.
Yay.
So the throne room is one of the things that actually does have real type moon pictures. So I'm going to show you one.
You having fun?
Hey, you give me a map to run around on. I'm good.
Blam.
Oh.
So ignore the Kiritsugu and Irisville in it.
Nope, they're totally there.
That's canon, right? Yeah.
Yep. Totally canon.
So this is the main throne room and audience chamber. So things to note about the throne room you're in right now. It does not have the pews. Those are not here anymore. Apparently over the last 15 years, they've decided they didn't need those.
I sold them on eBay.
They're downstairs if you want to go looking for them.
No.
Yes, we put them in the chapel downstairs.
throne.
Yep. So yeah, this is the main throne room, which, again, in the meta, this is where Saber was summoned. But in the version of it where she was summoned in Fate Zero, that was one of the things they changed, which I learned that apparently people on the internet are still butthurt about now. Whatever. The grand scheme of things in Fate to be upset about, that's a weird one. But yeah,
I'm just like, yes, Saber time. But no, anyway. Sorry.
Yeah, so in this room, you can see over on the left side of the room, assuming you're facing the throne, which I guess is everyone but Penelope, because she's looking down on her subjects. But for the left side of the room, you can see outside. Again, there's a window. You've got those big pillars along the way. Lights coming in. Like, the map doesn't show the stained glass well enough because that's actually the floor above this one, since it's so up there. But I'll reveal this part on that map if you ever bother to go back up to 6 again. But yeah, so like there's a bunch of space. There's a bunch of pretty pillars. You're above that giant room that you were just in before, so that's cool. And then there's stained glass up across the back, and in it, there are 3 main windows along with some side stuff. And unlike in the picture that they have in the Fate Zero thing, there actually is stuff in them. And so I'm going to tell you. The left window, looking at it from Anis's perspective, has a man with long black hair wearing a sort of red wine colored Japanese kimono, wearing a black hoppy jacket over it. He is facing towards the center, and he's down on one knee. And you can see one of his hands that he's holding up has some kind of red design on the back of it. And he's looking up towards whatever's going on in the center. The right one features a man with shorter hair. This hair's blue. He's wearing a more Western-styled suit. It's purple. It's like a dark purple. He's wearing a black jacket over his. He's also on one knee, and he's reaching up towards the center as well, using his other hand. You can see a very tiny amount of red on his hand, but from the pose, there's not much that you can make out of it. It's similar to the one on the other side. And then in the middle, standing between the two of them, is a woman who looks familiar to both of you because, especially Anise, because Anise saw her being created. There's a woman with pale skin, red eyes, long flowing white hair. She's wearing a gold and white crown, and she's got a red sash draped over her white dress. There's a bunch of elements to it. It's very fancy. Her face, while the other two look like they're looking on like with wonder, her face looks very neutral, very stoic, and both of her hands are up above her head. And between her hands, and at the center piece of this with like a big sunburst element behind it, is something that looks like the golden cup you just saw downstairs. And it's clear that the two men, like the one on each side, are looking up and reaching towards the cup above her, and she's looking straight ahead at the audience chamber as the cup is held between her hands. You can pretty much piece together who these people are, but if anyone's curious, you can roll history.
I'm sure the lady is just...
Pretty likely, yeah. So yeah, like the woman is pretty clearly Justice, the head of the Einzbern family for so long. And she's holding the Holy Grail. The people to the left and to the right, neither of you have seen before, but both of you can piece together just based on their outfits that the one on the left is probably Japanese and the one on the right is probably not Japanese. And based on your understanding of the founders of the Grail War ritual, you could wager that the one on the left is probably from the Tosaka family, and the one on the right is probably from the Makiri family. And this would make sense as being a collection of the founders of the Grail War. That said, you also, knowing mages, can understand that should the founders of the other families see it, they would probably be upset that they're being portrayed in a lesser, more reverent state than equal partners in this Grail War ritual, but they're not here. So, too bad. Get their own castle.
So this room is cool.
Oh,
the art's a little
Echo's also in here. Yes, I did mention that you could see Justice. That's the stained glass version of her. There's actually a portrait of her as well, which, quite honestly, you probably understand more what she looks like now, but if you would like to see it, I'd be happy to show it to you. Other than that, this is the Golem's throne room. It is almost never in use. Occasionally it's used for ceremonies, but we don't have many of those anymore, so I suppose that's less relevant.
Is he gonna be mad that I'm sitting on this throne?
I hope so.
He doesn't have to know.
What he doesn't know won't hurt him. She just kind of like lounges back in the chair.
He's the one who went and got himself crushed by a plant man.
Yeah, that's on him.
I'm sure he'll probably be upset about a number of things, but he can be upset when he has a body. If anything, this is kind of a nice break for me. Though I should probably go check on my sisters in those vats, because at some point they'll probably need to come out before he's back.
See, and then when he does come back, you guys can be like, we're in charge now. We got here first, and he'll just be like, but he'll have to listen to you.
Is that how that works?
Sure. That's totally how it works, right?
He's been around for so long, I'm not entirely sure how that works. Normally, he builds his own replacement body and is transferred almost instantly. Well, instantly in a relative sense. It still takes him like a year. But.
And, well, he's not doing that now. So, yeah, that's... sucks to be him.
And so, like, taking a look at her, you're... similar to before, you're seeing a little more emotion than you're used to seeing out of her. You're getting the impression that she might finally be hitting that rebellious teenager phase.
In the ripe age of 80.
I mean, she's like 19, so she's not that overdue.
But yeah, like, who's to say that, like, you guys couldn't
lay down the law?
Exactly. Yeah. You guys could lay down the law.
And for more of you than him, he'll need to listen to you as well.
Exactly.
That's never really come up before, but I suppose there's always the possibility. Like, well, you can kind of see the equations appearing around her head, like in that meme, because this has never come up before.
As current queen of this throne room, because no one has told me otherwise, I'm now declaring you guys to be in charge over the golem. Not the golem is not in charge anymore.
Roll persuasion.
Roll persuasion, oh god.
You're the one issuing royal decrees. That's persuasion.
Anything, you should at least be grateful for us providing him with a new body.
That's a 20 I just... or not a natural 20, but a 20 total I just...
Still a 20, yep. It might be a good idea to at least revisit some of his failed policies that may have led to the destruction of the castle, depending.
Exactly. He got the castle destroyed, and he got a bunch of, there's a bunch of dead homunculus bodies out there in a pile. It's really gross.
That is unfortunate and true.
That's not exactly the kind of attitude you want in somebody who's going to be running the show, and yeah.
I suppose I have some time to think about that.
Putting that out into the universe.
So, as you've begun insurrection, Kwaku pokes in from the door. Hey, so I think I might have found out some of what was going on with that mistletoe.
Oh.
Come over here and look out this window.
We do that.
Yeah, you don't need to move them. I'm just moving Kwaku so you know which window you're looking out. You could technically look out the ones from the throne room, too. He's gesturing out to the top of the building that you were sleeping in before.
Uh-huh.
And you said, so I asked them to look around for other mistletoe, and they found very small sprigs of it stuck in the cobblestones on top of that. And they actually lead back to the room that I've been staying in on the previous floor, which is the same floor as the main room. So I think someone... You said pass without trace was one of the options?
Yes, I do believe that does use mistletoe.
So would that leave mistletoe, or presumably the spell wouldn't do that at all, right? Like, it would be strange if it left a trace, given what it does.
Right, that would be strange.
So perhaps instead what happened was they took the mistletoe to use a different spell, and in the process they perhaps forgot that they were no longer without trace when they made their return trip. Because whether or not they were staying in my guest room or yours, they went back and forth between them. And quite honestly, when my spiders checked around, they noticed signs of a magic circle on the roof.
Ooh.
Now, the spiders don't really understand the spell used, but I think it might be something that makes more sense to you as druidic spells.
I could give a look.
Yeah.
I'll have them rebuild the thing so that you can see it. You don't have to go out there. And he sort of twangs like a banjo on the web. And you can see from up here way more spiders than you ever thought would possibly be in this castle. Flooding out like soot sprites across the roof. And assembling to form a shape on the roof of a magic circle. Pretty much everywhere they found.
Penelope is like very pointedly not looking. It's going like, nope.
If it makes you feel better, it means there's less of them in here right now.
Anise generally isn't bothered by bugs, but even she's a little bit creeped out by this.
They have a lot of ground to cover. At any rate, can you tell what's going on by that? And you can roll away.
Arcana?
It would be Arcana to identify the spell, or Nature to make another broader guess. You can roll both.
Oh.
You are definitely a nature girl. Yeah, so with your Arcana, you're a little fuzzy on it, but based on the layout of it, you've seen this once. It was used by a bunch of druids on one of your first outings with the circle. And what happened was they found an old mage's workshop that had been long abandoned, like presumably whatever mage was using it moved on. But that mage had left a bunch of things there with their bounded field. And so they had to get rid of the bounded field. Like, it was problematic, it was necrotic, it was attracting all kinds of problems. And so they set up a giant dispel magic circle to destroy that bounded field. And that's what this looks like to you. So, presumably someone put together a dispel magic circle on top of the roof of the castle.
Spell magic. One this big might be used to get rid of a bounded field, perhaps.
That would be problematic for defending your castle, wouldn't it?
A bit, yes.
Well, I suppose a conversation with the Edelfelts may be in order.
Yeah? Wonder what they were spelling. They were probably successful.
Presumably. I can't imagine that they would wish ill on the Einzberns, given they obviously came here and trusted them enough to stay. But I suppose those motivations would be beyond me. Like, they were willing to participate in the Grail War once. And that would presumably mean they're not philosophically against it, but I don't know. I've worked with them before, you've worked with them before. It may be something worth asking in the future. For right now, I'm going to have my spiders scatter the remnants of it, so that if it is affecting anything, it stops. Is that fair?
Sounds fair.
Okay. And he twangs on the banjo web again, and the spiders disperse.
Cool. Still grosses me out every time.
That's fair. Okay, so I suppose we've got the core. You've got your flowers. We've got some work to do. I'm going to work with Echo to get the other materials that I need to build a golem. And I suppose the two of you are free to do whatever works for you. I'm going to be here for a bit. Making people takes time.
I mean, that's fair.
Oh, actually, hold on. He reaches into his pocket and he pulls out a key. Could you give this back to Gunter? He probably wants the keys to 3/4 of his hotel rooms back.
I do still have the wolf key. I considered giving it to the bird earlier, but that seems... I also considered giving Crosby's earring, but again, I was like, no, that's mean. That's too mean.
They would probably end up in a nest.
Yeah, sure, I'll take the key. Mine now.
Yeah, I'll dig that out and add it to your inventory later.
Like, whatever key it is. What key did he have?
I don't remember. I would have to go look it up.
Not the wolf key, because that's what I have.
I had the stag.
It was like he had the boar or something.
Bear, maybe.
Might have been.
Now I've got the bear room.
I have it written down in his inventory. I just have to go get it. But yeah, so he's going to hand that back. He's obviously not going back to the saloon anytime soon. He's going to be out here doing this for a bit.
Just bring you some yeehaw chili to keep you warm while you build this golem.
Is that a threat? Are you threatening me?
That was a joke, not a threat.
Yeah, can't you tell by her joking face?
And I just make my completely blank.
Oh, you're right. Good,
I do still have effects of the chili, I believe.
Is it still hot? I'm afraid it might still be hot.
I don't know. I've been afraid to open it up and find out.
It has been a few days.
It might be volatile.
It hasn't been that long. I need to dispose of it before we get back. Throw it in a trash.
Nobody needs to know.
They'll never find out. Okay, so yeah, the spiders have scattered the stuff on the roof. I think you've all got some idea of the things that you can do next. So it'll be up to you if you want to spend however much time you want to in the gardens or going back and meeting up with your manager. Presumably the next like actual timed event for any of you is in 2 weeks in Paris. So we can dictate how much time you want to spend exploring the castle, or you can start making other plans for other stuff. We have flexibility.
Okay. What do you want to do?
I mean, I want to garden. I want to collect some seeds, clippings.
You want to be a plant nerd?
Yep. Start putting together some sort of theory behind the potion that might make Echo stop aging.
All I really have in mind for the next 2 weeks is the next 24 hours.
Meet up with your manager.
Meet up with manager. Be like, hey, there's a thing. Let me do the thing.
Book me in Paris.
Book me, biche. I'll make it worth your while.
I mean, you are rich now.
I will give you 1 gold piece.
Gonna go to the local gardening store in whatever town closest and just like buy out the whole friggin' place. No kidding.
I need this backhoe now.
Alright, so I assume that we should just head back to the saloon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fair.
So.
All right. Well, then we will cover one more thing, and then I think that'll probably be a good enough run for this time since we can go in for a bit. And I'm not going to pull up a map for this one. I'm just going to describe it at you.
Found the core. That was literally the only thing on my list.
Yep. So you let Echo know what you're doing. You let Kwaku know you're gonna head off, and that at the very least, Anise is planning on coming back and doing more garden stuff. And Penelope's gonna get up with her manager and coordinate, whatever is needed for Paris. It's nice having a manager to handle that crap for you, which is cool. So, yeah. So you're heading back. Echo does warn you that if you're planning on walking off the grounds, you might want to put those robes back on.
Pseudo?
Yep.
Like, you don't need to like completely change your clothes, but just having them on you is helpful. So when you step outside of the front of the castle, you notice something that you never really looked back to before. And that is that previously when you were looking in on the castle, like, yeah, there was a bunch of damage from the trees. There's a bunch of holes in the castle wall now because those roots have receded and, rotted away, which is cool, I guess. But looking outside from the main door, you also see something happened while you guys were busy. There are dozens, if not hundreds, of dead twig blights and vine blights.
Ugh.
All over outside. It looked like a small army of them. And they've been torn to pieces. This isn't like the ones that you saw inside that just sort of fell over when the tree died. These have been torn to pieces. Something killed them. And you kind of get a sense of some of what that something was. Because, for every like 15 or 20 blights that you see dead, you see a dead wolf.
Ooh.
Apparently a bunch of wolves got in a fight with them. And then noteworthy, in the middle of all of this, you see a dead big thing. And that dead big thing looks like this.
Cool.
It's not as big as the tree that you fought, but it's still the size of a tree.
Ooh.
It's huge, and it's torn all to pieces. Something messed this thing up. Something ripped its arms off, tore through it. You see bite marks, you see claw marks. Something ripped it to pieces.
Holy cow.
And then as you're doing this, you sort of, you know the way that the valley works, where you've occasionally got like the rock outcroppings that are higher up versus lower with trees everywhere. You see on one of the higher up outcroppings, looking down over all of this, something looking down at the two of you.
Ooh. Fluffy.
And it's a big, fluffy looking golden wolf. And as it looks down at you, it sort of nods its head, and then it turns around and it runs away.
Cool.
I think that might be what I was able to contact with the Ridus.
Ah. You did good. You killed all these wives. Killed that guy. The giant tree thingy.
Yeah,
that wasn't the tree that we were fighting.
I noticed.
Thanks, Wolfie.
The wonderful world of fights you didn't have to do.
That all right?
Well, someone got a lot of EXP, yeah.
There's that. But yeah, you definitely get the impression that when you did your all call for help, it was answered. It's just, now that you think about it, your entire fight with the tree was over in under a minute.
Yeah.
So presumably when the tree did its call for an army of things to come and get you, that signaled the thing that said it was going to help you out, and there was just a giant fight outside that you didn't hear because you were blowing things up the whole time. So.
Tower of oil and grenade.
Yeah.
Under a minute to kill a giant tree.
Yeah.
Oh, so whenever we get back to the saloon, I want to show Anise what I found in the vault.
Okay. So yeah, you managed to, now that you've seen that, the return trip is remarkably easier because for starters, like I said, you don't really have to avoid the trees like you did before, which makes it a much shorter walk. One thing that I'm just gonna say you figure out and resolve pretty quickly is that when you get to the edge of the saber barrier, you can't walk through it. It's more like a solid dome pushing you back. Like, it's not actually solid, but like trying to shove two like charge magnets together, like just it's forcibly pushing you back. Like the mana in your body won't let you pass through it. So you can make a detour to go redirect that statue again.
Guess I do that.
Yeah. It's like, I mean, like, I'm not going to make you roll to figure out that that's what you have to do. It's pretty clear.
I'll send it back towards the castle like it was before.
Yeah, that's fine. And when you do that, similar to last time, you can hear voices, and you hear a gruffy voice poking into your head, presumably the same voice from last time. And it just says, "We've done what we could."
And I'll basically say or think back, thank you. Your help was much appreciated.
We appreciate you keeping the world safe for us. And yeah, I mean, you did. And so you successfully redirect that the way you were before, and then you have no trouble getting back. In fact, it's nice because it's not a miserable super blizzard anymore.
Yay.
It actually feels more like proper March. So it's cold, but not super cold.
Yeah.
And then you get back to the saloon.
As soon as they get there, Penelope just takes off the like Einzbern homunculus uniform thing. Is just like, Ugh.
That's fair. Okay, so I'm gonna spare doing the role playing of interacting with all the NPCs for next time, just because that'll be a little more, talky plotty, and that can take longer.
Yeah.
But if you want to go ahead and do the sharing her what you found now, just so that her player knows, you can go for it.
Okay, so we're gonna go back up to the rooms because we have those, and also I don't want anybody else to see this thing. Especially not Crosby. Fuck off, Crosby.
Oh, fine, right. Be that way. I see.
Get out of the room, Crosby. You're not wanted here. Take your earrings and leave.
Nah. But okay, so this is what I found in the vault, and I didn't want to say anything while we were over there. I also didn't want to show Echo what it was I took. And she just holds the scroll out and lets Anise read it. I don't have the text in front of me anymore because we erased it.
That's fine. I'll display it proper now.
This was all a ploy to... I don't know.
All right.
All part of the plan.
All right, I'll post it in not made up language anymore.
Anise doesn't really understand much about the Grail War. Kim is like, Avenger? Avenger class?
Yeah. You've essentially found how the Einzberns hack the war to get an edge over the other families.
Gotcha.
But yeah, this is big.
It is big. Good that we're taking it away from them, very least. These things only happen every 50, 60 years.
Yeah.
So.
But also, I don't know if that's if they have this committed memory, that's entirely possible. But
True.
I feel like them not having this is a better thing than them having.
Yes, very.
We don't want them doing that. We don't want them doing this. Pointing at the scroll. This is...
I feel it's inevitable that I'm going to be doing more research about the Grail War. I only know the basics, and I've only gleaned the basics in the last 3 days.
Yeah, same.
The situation in Fuyuki is alarming. I've been to Japan. I'm sure my tribe will be interested. They may or may not mobilize. They may or may not already know. I don't know if it's worth pursuing or doing research on. I mean, we're both half phantasmal. We'll live.
Well, I'm full phantasmal, baby.
Oh. We'll live. If the next Grail War doesn't happen for another 60 years, we'll be around for it, sure.
But Ugh. Mess.
Quite like Echoviel, but I don't know that I agree with mission statement of the Einzbern.
It's okay, we can work on it.
And, I mean, I have no reason not to trust Kwaku, and I have plenty of reasons to trust him, but we've only just met.
I mean, that's true. But we also blew up a tree together, and I feel like that is a good bonding.
True. And with you, I have no reason not to trust him.
Do you trust me?
As much as I can when I've only known you for 3 days.
That's fair. I trust you.
I appreciate that you shared this scroll and information.
Yee.
Could have easily kept it to yourself.
I could.
In 60 years, show up with a berserker servant.
Just be like, just show up and be like, bitches, what now? I'm here with a berserker. What up?
Yes, my curiosity is great enough. I think it's inevitable that I will be doing more research.
What would you wish for?
Part of me wants to wish for just all of the technology to go away and go back to the way things were when it was just nature on this planet. But
I'm home from my cold dead hands.
Technology can be quite useful.
Yeah.
Suppose I would wish for something like the pollution and greed of mankind to go away. I don't know if that's possible.
I don't know.
There were more not bad trees.
Just good trees that
good
don't
trees.
try to destroy everything.
Non-vampiric trees.
Yeah. Although luckily we don't need a grail for that. You can just plant some trees, right? That's how trees work.
I mean, I have been.
Then you use the grail and it's just like bonus trees.
Something along those. What would you wish for?
I mean, it's a good question. Probably, I don't know. I probably want it to be safer for phantasmals to be out in the world, because, like, I mean, I'm crazy. I'm certifiably crazy.
I will not disagree.
Like, I just kind of went, I'm gonna go do my own thing, but, like, half the people back home are just like, no, we're just gonna keep hiding because that's what's safest. And I'm like, but the rest of the world is kind of cool. Come on, guys. I mean, I know we travel, but it's just, it sucks that they're all just kind of too scared to do anything.
We got rid of a lot of technology. Went back to the way things were when we lived in peace with nature. That would be more phantasmals would be out in the world.
I mean, that is fair. We'll workshop this.
I believe we might have a common goal, at least. I too would like for not to have to constantly hide my ears, for example.
Do what I do. Just become a musician, and everybody's like, oh, she's just dressing up in cosplay, I guess. It's fine. Part of her costume. I forget that you don't know what that word means, and that's okay.
I would also like for it to be a safer world for all the non-humanoid phantasmals.
Yeah.
That wolf back there.
Yeah.
Or my bird friends.
Yeah.
Dragons, maybe.
Maybe. Yeah. World peace. Isn't that what everybody always wishes for in movies and stuff? World peace.
Say something like, get rid of all the humans, but I've met quite a lot of bad, but I've met quite a lot of good ones too.
You're a half-elf, right?
Yes.
What's the other half?
Human.
Okay, I was about to say, like, I didn't want to assume, but... So, I mean, there's gotta be at least one or two humans you like.
They should go back to not being the dominant.
Very tired. It's okay.
I'm imagining a flash to at home where, like, one of Anis's parents is like, hey!
Hey! Young lady! I don't know
what
kind of voice I was doing.
Well, okay, backstory drop. Anis's dad just checked out.
Whoa!
Anis's dad, that was a one-night stand.
Whoa!
He just checked out. He's probably somewhere out there in the world, but he has not been in the
waiting to get wished out of existence.
I want to Thanos snap half of the humans away, and he just poofed. She's like,
well,
you win some, you lose.
backstory drop.
But it wasn't that big of a deal because, like, Anis's tribe is a very much like a child of one person in the tribe is the entire tribe is all the. So.
Yeah, it in a weird and twisted way, it's kind of sparing you watching one of your parents grow old and die way faster than the other one.
True.
Like, half-elves generally have to watch one of their parents get old and die. Like, I mean, most species have that experience, but, like, it's pretty much a guarantee that it'll happen much younger in your relative life.
And now that I've dropped this piece of backstory, I absolutely cannot wait for, like, 3 months from now, like, and the villain is your dad.
I'm not a fan of those plots, but it's not like I would tell you if I was planning that, so, like, it doesn't matter.
And come face to face with one of the other enemy mages, and it's your dad. Or just, like, Penelope rolls, like, a natural 20 and is like, huh, that other mage kind of looks like you, Anis. Like, no, he doesn't look like me. I don't know what you're talking about. I've never met this man in my entire life.
Plot twist. I don't know. I was gonna try and set up something like stupid traumatic, like, oh, your dad is actually Keurig.
No, absolutely.
I think you're too old for that.
Yeah. My dad somehow killed Gilgamesh.
No.
That'd make you half something.
Shiro.
No, I think
if Gilgamesh was your dad, that would make you like quarter ASMR.
Nah.
Because Gilgamesh is a half god.
Your dad is too good.
No.
I mean, Cuchulainn probably has a lot of kids. Admittedly, Cuchulainn also has a really bad track record with his kids, given he literally killed one of them.
Your dad is Houhoulet. How does that make you feel?
Oh, dye my hair again. The roots are growing back and it's blue. And you're like, what?
How is your hair blue?
I never should have gotten my design from How to Draw Anime. But yeah, I think we've sufficiently wrapped for this one.
Yeah. Now we're just clowning on the...
Now we're just doing the stuff that we do after we stop recording. So.
Exactly.
But yeah, so I think we've covered enough ground for here. For the next session, we can round out a few details of, what you're each doing next. And then, yeah, the next branch of the story is going to be a bit more people and political in Paris. You'll no longer have to speak German.
Oh, but I will, just because...
I mean, you can. It is still...
I must speak French. I don't... Or, I speak French.
The letter was in English.
So. Yeah, but we're going to Paris, so...
Yeah.
Some French going on.
I mean, if there's ever a place to flex your English muscle, it's going to be a European capital. Mm-hmm. So you'll probably be better off there than in the backwoods of Germany.
Like, probably knows a handful of phrases that you would see in a French phrase book.
You'd probably order in a restaurant.
I mean, Penelope has survived in France before, so
yeah.
I think she'll be okay.
She'll be fine.
Fine, Anise can only order in a restaurant, but only the escargot with the purse.
You're like, it's my turn.
Anise is like, I now live only on crepes.
Actually, hold on, here we go.
Anise comes back to the castle, like, 5 pounds
there.
heavier.
That 17 is her proficiency in French.
There you go.
She's okay at it.
That's the spirit. But yeah, so thanks to anyone watching this recording in the future. I hope you enjoyed it. We're finally going to be free of the endless castle and forest maps and on to something new.
Yeehaw.
Yeehaw. All right, so I'm going to wrap the recording, and then I guess we'll be back in 2 weeks.
Yay.
And in 2 weeks after that, we might play in person. Take that, Internet.
What now, Internet?
Will that just be like a lost episode?
It'll probably be I use Fantasy Grounds for the maps anyway, but I put it on the TV, and then the audio quality is just going to be real bad.
They're going to hear all of the dice getting rolled, but not actually see.
Oh my god, are we going to get play? Oh wait, we could probably discuss this after this.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. But yeah, so goodbye, Internet. I will talk to all of you someday, maybe. All right.
Happy trails, Internet.